you gonna backtrack? And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about. Hello. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. It is Monday, June 2nd at 8:58 a.m. I wanted to come on here early. This is the best I could do. But apparently, y'all, there is a whole lawsuit going on with the CEO. Shout out to Rotten Banana from Louisiana. There's a whole lawsuit going on with the CEO of Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's record label, getting the CEO is getting sued by her daughter. Now, in and of itself, it's just very interesting to me because it has to do with the Florida shuffle. This daughter, don't worry, we are going to talk about Diddy. I have all my stuff up, but I just have to mention this Jay-Z thing real quick because y'all, Jesus, look, shout out to the Sweden cousins in the chat. Y'all, look at this thing. It's so many of the same webbings that I just had to show it to y'all. Here's the lawsuit. I'm gonna have to make a whole BJ Investigates on this. First and foremost, look at this right here, life skills. Life skills, webbing, that rings a bell. Why? Because Bam Margera was locked up in life skills, he claims, against his will. He escaped from life skills. He went to that hotel in Broward County, Florida, with his mom. His mom was sitting there at the bar with him drinking. Then the cops show up, the Broward County sheriff, and the mom was drinking there with him. And it was all of a sudden, so I'm so scared. You gotta lock him up. Lima's been at the court all day trying to get him Marchman acted, Baker acted, whatever. This, excuse me, this life skills is one of those places. Well, the Rock Nation CEO's daughter is suing life skills for this, like, improperly imprisoning her. Y'all, the stuff she says about her mom, who's the CEO of Rock Nation, is blowing my mind. Now, does it surprise me? No, but it is a little bit shocking that it's being even said out here in public. Like, Daniel Bober, the medical director of Life Skills, she's suing. Odyssey Behavioral Health Care, which is a Tennessee corporation. Why? I don't know. She's suing the Broward County Sheriff. So she says so much stuff. Look, the first thing of the lawsuit, it says, of the facts, right? This case gives meaning to the phrase, you wouldn't believe it till you see it. Desiree Perez, this is the lawsuit, y'all. I'm saying what the lawsuit is saying. I don't know. I wasn't there, but they're saying this, the CEO of Rock Nation is a former drug trafficker, confidential informant. This is her daughter saying this stuff about her, and convicted felon who is now the CEO of Rock Nation. Demarie is the daughter, and Javon Hadley is the daughter's husband. So it would be the son-in-law of Desiree. For the past 2 years, Desiree has used her money, power, and influence to tear the Hadleys apart, her daughter and her son-in-law. She created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot and used unlawful means to have Javon falsely arrested on 3 different occasions and to have Demarie falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Acts. Unfortunately, as detailed below, Desiree Perez has a history of using illegal tactics. Again, I'm reading a lawsuit. I don't know. I wasn't there. To get her way, even if it requires wearing rubber gloves and providing false information to authorities. And there is a picture of her sitting right here with the rubber gloves on. In addition to being the CEO of Rock Nation, she's part owner of the company. It was founded in 2008, the same year Britney went into a conservatorship, which I'm telling y'all is going to end up being important. Everybody gets mad when I mention it, but I'm telling you it's going to end up mattering. Rock Nation represents all these people. The NFL contracts Rock Nation to organize and select performers for the Super Bowl halftime show. Desiree, as CEO, has an army of tech staff with access to the best technology. She has a team of attorneys and private investigators. She has a past as a drug trafficker, a confidential informant, a fraudster, and a fugitive. That is what this lawsuit says. I am not saying it. I do not know. I was not there. Look, they include pieces of her alleged criminal past. She became a confidential informant and provided information to federal law enforcement in the 90s. This caused the government to file a motion eliminating her 30-month prison sentence. After DeMarie was born, Desiree continued to be a criminal. This is according to this filing. I do not know. I was not there. For instance, local law enforcement arrested Desiree in 1996 for a slew of fraudulent criminal activity, including organized fraud, grand theft, and several counts of uttering a forged instrument. There's all these alleged charges. Her surrender got delayed. Then she became a fugitive. She eventually pled guilty in the state of New York, but she was sentenced to a conditional discharge. And she says, Desiree, DeMarie, her daughter, says, I think that she avoided that prison sentence because she was cooperating with law enforcement. Choosing a life of crime over motherhood, Desiree dumped her infant daughter, DeMarie, on DeMarie's maternal grandfather, Julio, and his long-term partner, Olga. Growing up, DeMarie referred to Julio as abuelo, which is like grandpa, and Olga, her grandpa's life partner or whatever, like her step-grandma, she called her mommy, which Desiree, the CEO of Roc Nation, still to this day despises. Look at this. In 2002, almost fresh out of prison, Desiree somehow became the owner of the 4040 nightclub in New York. To the outside world, it appears that the CEO of Roc Nation turned her life around and became a successful CEO. But secretly, she continued to engage in acts, exposing herself and others to both civil and criminal liability, which a state prosecutor has even noted in a closeout memorandum related to the fraudulent arrest of Javon. Now look at this stuff. This starts looking like what Britney Spears accused TriStar Sports and Entertainment of. As related to this lawsuit, Desiree conspired with others to illegally record the Hadleys in their bedroom. She conspired with others to put a camera in her own daughter's bedroom, and it was in there for years. She allegedly, according to this lawsuit, I do not know, I was not there. She also allegedly hacked her daughter's iPhone, cloned the iCloud account, which is exactly the same thing that Britney and her lawyer accused her alleged abusers of doing, unlawfully detained the Hadleys on several occasions, concocted false evidence against them, unlawfully wiretapped their bedroom. She conspired allegedly with others to surreptitiously plant a camera in her daughter and her son-in-law's bedroom without their knowledge, and the camera was in there since at least July 2022. Desiree literally admitted to this in a frivolous lawsuit she filed. This is all, again, I'm reading from the lawsuit. I do not know, I was not there. In her complaint, Desiree, the mom, even included a snapshot from the illegal, this is gall. She put a snapshot of the illegal recording device, captured footage from inside. Imagine you're reading a lawsuit, you're getting sued by your own mom, and she got a picture in there of your bedroom with your husband in there with you. In addition to the quote illegal camera, Desiree also planted a listening device, this right here, in their bedroom. Unbeknownst to the Hadleys, Desiree kept both recording devices in their bedrooms for years, which is, quote, clearly illegal. Again, I'm not making these allegations. I am reading from a federal complaint. I do not know if it is true, but it looks like she has some receipts. Desiree illegally hacked DeMarie's iCloud account, another thing Britney accused her team of doing, but also Cassie accused Diddy of doing, somehow finding out all of her stuff she was doing on her phone. Remember in her lawsuit? It gave Desiree unfettered access to DeMarie's digital data, including text messages, photographs, and videos. DeMarie has witnessed her mother. This is the crazy part. I was like, I have to tell y'all about this morning. DeMarie has witnessed her mother. She's seen it. She said, I witnessed it my freaking self. My mom direct the tech team at Roc Nation to infiltrate other people's digital data, including an instance where Desiree wanted to determine how a chart-topping artist's upcoming movie got leaked. DeMarie first realized her mother had hacked her iPhone last year in March 1st, 2024. On that day, it was her iPhone was pinging in New York, and she was sitting there in Miami. She's like, how is my Apple Watch and my iPhone pinging to the location of Rock Nation headquarters. Well, come to find out, she believes her mother had used her. Look, Demery believes, paragraph 77, the iPhone device in her iCloud account, which placed her location at Rock Nation in New York, was a device cloned by her mother's team at Rock Nation. Again, Demery has personally witnessed her mother order her team to clone a person's iPhone for her access. Desiree, the mom's frivolous lawsuit recently filed against Javon, she kind of admitted to hacking Demery's phone because she filed screenshots of all kinds of text messages between Demery and Javon, but she didn't explain to the court how she got these private text messages. As explained below, the mom used illegal bedroom recordings, stolen iCloud data, and other means during her conspiracy. This is a quote, I'm not making this allegation, to fraudulently convince people that Demery needed to be unlawfully committed to a mental health institution and a drug rehab facility under Florida's Baker and Marchman Act statutes. She used the same information that she illegally obtained, according to them, in order to get the son-in-law fraudulently arrested. She threatened to Baker Act Demery all the way back in September 2023, 2 years ago. That day, Desiree lured her daughter to her home in Pinecrest, Florida, under the false pretenses that Demery's uncle needed to be taken to the hospital, but this was false. She rushed to her mother's home and was confronted by an interventionist. Does this not sound like Bam Margera? The interventionalist, Stephen B. Timmer, he's one of the two people, including the guardian, Lima Takali Mora Yevremovich, who goes by several aliases, who tried to intervene on Bam. They had all this paperwork and everything set up, ready to go, and they will put your ass in a van. And if you don't go, they will call the cops and they will lie. They will say you have schizophrenia. They will say they're scared for your life. They definitely have to get the moms and the dads involved all the time. This is crazy. As seen below in the snippet from the police report, the mom did admit to having an intervention for Demery and that she hired a counselor named Victoria Hunter. Although Desiree told officers that Victoria Hunter is a therapist, Hunter has never been a licensed therapist in Florida. She convinced Miss Hunter to lie to the police and falsely claim she was a therapist. She's not a therapist. They're just lying to the police. I'm going to have to do like a whole video on this. Perez, they're saying, also used her power, according to Galactic Barbie Doll, to railroad Tory Lanez. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Shout out to Vicky becoming a member. Shout out to Sweet Tea for the $1.99. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Okay, so like I said, I wanted to get started on this earlier, but I didn't. So I don't want to spend too much more time on this. Make sure that you are subscribed to my other channel, BJ Investigates, because on that channel, I'm going to be doing I'm going to Baker Act you. And if you stay with that N word, I'm going to have you committed. Oh my God, I didn't even read this part yet. Quote, Desiree pulled Demery back and stated, oh my God, y'all. I do want to read this one part. Look at this. Okay, hold on. Let me, although Desiree, okay, so this woman's not even a therapist. Demery was not interested in her mother's intervention, and they keep putting intervention in quotes. She demanded to leave, which she should be allowed to do in a free country, unless she's a slave. I mean, in a free country, we're not supposed to have them, but look what happened. This sounds like Kurt Cobain. This sounds like Kanye West. This sounds like Britney Spears. This sounds like Bam Margera. Desiree prevented Demery from leaving her home by confiscating her dog. She kidnapped the dog, allegedly. Desperate to leave, Demery then attempted to climb over her mother's security fence. And this is how Bam escaped from life skills, is he hopped the fence and ran away, he said. Desiree, the mom, pulls Demery back and says, I am going to Baker Act you. If you stay with that N word, I will have you committed. When the police authored the incident report, the Hadleys were dating, had not yet been married. Desiree's statement was not some veiled threat. It later actually came to fruition. Demery, the daughter, called 911 and requested that the police help her leave. Desiree flaunted her power as the CEO of Rock Nation and claimed she had the Pinecrest Police Department in her pocket. The police officers arrived on the scene and eventually did force Desiree to allow the daughter to leave. But due to her influence, the officers refused to press charges against Desiree for false imprisonment. The same day, Desiree showed up to Demarie's grandfather's home, the one who had raised her, Abuelo, where the Hadleys were living. She confronted the son-in-law. They weren't married yet. I know everything that happens with you and Demarie. Why? Because she had a camera in there. If you stay with her, you're going to get yourself unalived. Based on these threats, the Hadleys moved out of the grandfather's home in October and into a home located in Homestead, Florida. In response, Desiree then rented the house directly across the street from them, pointed a camera toward their home, and ordered private investigators, many of whom were unlicensed, to stalk and harass the Hadleys. This has happened to me. The investigators who stayed across from the Hadleys worked for CTS Research in New York City. CTS investigators followed the Hadleys 24 hours a day. I've been followed in the store. I mean, I know y'all saw me put the video of that man up. Many times, CTS investigators followed the Hadleys at unsafe distances in their cars, causing the Hadleys to fear for their safety while driving. On one occasion, these investigators, or one of them who was unlicensed, had a pew-pew laying on the front seat while following Javon. Below is a camera installed by the investigators. So they're moving people into the neighborhood, allegedly. She conspired with Demarie's employer. So Demarie had a job, Iconic Creative. After the first plot failed, Desiree upped the stakes to have Demarie committed. Since January 2021, Demarie worked for a creative agency in Miami called Iconic Creative. Of course, Iconic also often worked events for Rock Nation and its artists. Because, you know, one of the owners of Rock Nation is also Live Nation. For 2.5 years, Demarie's salary at Iconic was $65,000, and the company was in financial distress, a fact that the owners shared with Demarie. Yesterday, the photographer from Zion in New Orleans was not paid either. AJ had not been paid in months. October 2023, right after Desiree, the mom, threatened to Baker Act the daughter if she didn't leave the son-in-law. I guess he's black. I guess this woman's a racist, and she said you have to leave the N-word. I mean, that's so messed up. That's what it says in the lawsuit. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't hear it. But Demarie actually got a salary increase in October to $125,000 a year. But Desiree stepped in and helped resolve the financial problems with strings attached, i.e. controlling Demarie. Demarie found it odd because she knew about the company's financial situation, but she was also happy to have a pay increase. Little did she know what was to come. Iconic, her employer, began asking her to stay late, work longer hours, and to travel frequently. While some of the demands made sense at the time because of the pay increase, she didn't realize that there was a nefarious plot on the way to split her and her husband up. All of this is happening because she's with her husband, I guess. On December 12, 2023, she was required to attend this Nike meeting the next day. She found it odd when she signed on to Zoom. Rachel Thomas was at the training. Who's Rachel Thomas? Demarie found this to be odd because every other training consisted of at least 20 people, but Rachel Thomas signed on to Zoom and identified herself as a representative from Nike Academy. Rachel then began asking Demarie questions that were unrelated to work. So some type of like interrogation, type of intel gathering. And I always tell y'all, you have to be on guard for this type of stuff. Documentary companies, podcasts, people will lie to you. They will tell you that they are contacting you for a certain reason, but it is to gather intelligence. I don't know if that's what's going on here. I'm just reading a lawsuit. I wasn't there. Demarie was suspicious of Rachel's intent and asked if she could record the conversation, which she did do. She took a screenshot of Rachel. There she is right there. She proceeded to give Demarie a quasi-psychological evaluation. A quasi-psychological evaluation. Upon information and belief, the mom conspired with Liz and Benny, the owners of Iconic, to have Demarie undergo a mental health evaluation with Rachel. After this training, aka disguised mental health evaluation, Rachel agreed to provide it. Oh, and asked for the Nike Academy profile, and Rachel never did provide it because it never really had been created. A few days later, Demarie received a fake link showing Rachel's false affiliation with Nike. Because this is fake, she's saying. Wow. The website was later deleted. Wow. She was required to attend other, quote, training sessions at least one right before Christmas. She didn't know Rachel's true identity, but in reality, Rachel, quote, Thomas was really a woman named Rachel Bernstein. Bernstein is a licensed marriage and family therapist from California who specializes in sex cults and has a podcast on SU occult recovery. So this is Bernstein. This was all just a ploy to have Desiree to have Desiree improperly evaluated. Suffice it to say, Rachel Bernstein was never associated with Nike Academy, and this was all a lie, according to this lawsuit. Oh my God, y'all. Okay. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm shocked. I'm in awe. I want to keep reading it, but we're here for the Diddy trial. I'm gonna get to these super chats and then we'll start the Diddy trial coverage. Thanks so much to Galactic Barbie Doll for the $1.99. Thank you, Michelle Gilliard, or is it Gillard, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Jay, for the $2 super chat. You're welcome. You're welcome. Wow. Thank you, Michelle Nana. Or Nana. It's insane how all this connects. Thank you for connecting the dots. I always thought Kurt Cobain was unalived. Thank you for your tenacious investigations. Love you, mean it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Michelle Nana. Tell Michelle, thank you for the very generous super chat. Thank you, Life Lessons and Lions. Good morning. Subscribe. Yes, shout out to you. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I told y'all, that pretty girl said, Jay-Z is coming down. I've got the receipts. Just one more witness I need for me to bring it all to the public. Well, that pretty girl, I'll be sitting here waiting. I'll be waiting. Thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat. Thanks so much for the $4.99, Kimberly Ann. Hey, sent you an email. Subject, human being 15. I didn't do any research, but I found this last night, and I don't know. It might be another victim of Diddy. Okay, I'll take a look. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Let's go to Inner City Press and see if that's started over there. We do have some things going on already from some of the sources, the typical usual sources. And shout out to the mods in the chat. I have put the mods, they have some links if y'all want to support the mods by, a little coffee, a little shout out, a little appreciation token to the mods. I am still waiting on a couple of the mods' links to be able to put in there, but I think all the ones in here now, they have links down below if y'all want to shout out to the mods to support the mods in any way. Their links are in the description box. And Inner City Press link is also in the description box. Okay. All right. So they have gotten started. Before Oh my God, Brian Steele is aggravating. I know y'all like him, but he gets on my nerves. The judge said before the jury even came in, this was 25 minutes ago. The judge says, Mr. Steele, how much longer do you have on your cross-examination? And Brian Steele's like, I don't know, like at least till lunch. Remember, this lady was supposed to be done, Mia. She's supposed to be done on Friday. They had got her a ticket, I think, to go back to wherever she lives. And she was supposed to be already finished. Now, Brian Steele is saying he's not even going to be done with his cross-examination until maybe lunch or after lunch. Like he wants to spend all day with this girl again. The judge said, okay, we're not going to have 15 more Instagram posts, are we? Brian Steele said, well, I can't promise that. We might have 15 more. The judge says, okay, so the defense on the elevator hallway video, you're objecting to showing the versions we discussed. Diddy's lawyers, again, are still arguing about including the video of the Cassie in the hallway, Diddy running down the hall like a puma. Why? Because the lawyers are saying that it shows Diddy running 30% faster than he really ran, and it's prejudicial. And we let the assistant U.S. attorney know, Smizer, how we're going to cross-examine the expert. Okay, so there's still, even though this video has been shown in at least some forms, a few different ways in court, I guess the defense, Diddy's lawyers, still trying to keep it out. And they do have an expert. Remember Connor McCourt, who in and of himself has his own like Hollywood background. He's like a documentary producer, but he's also somehow like this forensics expert about videos and stuff. He's going to come in and he's going to testify as to this stuff. The judge says, okay, let's have Mr. Garcia. Who's Mr. Garcia? Okay, wait. Who's Mr. Garcia? Somebody tell me who is Mr. Garcia. Eric, I have no desire to go into that courtroom. I might be able to go for one day. Eric said I couldn't make it into the courtroom. No, I don't want to go to that courtroom. I have no desire. I mean, maybe one day. Maybe one day in my life. Sweet Tea, I thought I said shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I thought I had said that. Thanks so much. Nobody knows who Mr. Garcia is. Is it? I know there was an Enrique Santos, but look, this is why I'm asking. This is why I'm so curious to know, because look, Mr. Garcia comes into the courtroom. So I guess this is going to be who's going to come up at some point after to testify after Mia. And Mia, again, is a pseudonym. Did you receive a subpoena to testify at this trial? This guy or person, I guess. Yeah, Mr. He says, yes, I was subpoenaed to testify here. And the assistant U.S. attorney said, okay, so do you intend to invoke your Fifth Amendment rights? And he said, yeah, I plead the Fifth. I'm not going to be going to jail over nothing I testify over here no, I'm going to plead the Fifth. So then the assistant U.S. attorney is like, okay, well, we have a proposed immunity order for you. Have you seen it? He says, yes. Then the assistant U.S. attorney goes, okay, Your Honor, on that basis, we propose you sign the immunity order. So somebody else, we just got a second person who has pled the Fifth, who said, I'm not going to be, y'all not getting me. No, I plead the Fifth. But their testimony, I guess, is so important to the feds, to the prosecutors, that they're like, we're going to give you immunity for your testimony. Now, this raises a bunch of questions. Does this mean they're going to get immunity at the state level, at the other level? Does it immune them from all other stuff? I mean, we don't know. But then they send him back out. He's got immunity, whoever Garcia is. And then they're like, all right, well, bring in Mia. She's got to finish her cross-examination. And Brian Steele already done said we might have 15 more Instagram posts, because that seems to be their whole thing. Now, it does seem like Brian Steele did kind of like tear this witness up on the stand, but all he really did was call into question whether or not this lady, was maybe telling the truth about how much the R assaults and things like affected her. I don't think he did really call it into question. That's why I said maybe, because maybe that's how some of the jury took it. However, none of that really helps Diddy with the RICO. None of that really helps him with anything else. It just maybe adds like one less victim, but you only need one victim for a RICO. So you don't even, actually, I don't think you need any victims. I think you need them, but I think it's by default, probably. Okay. So Mia takes the stand. The judge, all rise. Court is now in session. Mia comes to the stand. Okay, so it's still Brian Steele, Diddy's lawyer, asking the questions. He says, okay, now, Mia, I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit 1750. This is the video. This is the video. They tried to already get it in on Friday. The judge didn't let it come in because why? But there's a few reasons. First of all, he didn't give proper notice, but because they drug the whole trial out on Friday, now they were able to give the notice. Also, it appeared that they were being sneaky. Diddy's team was being sneaky because they did give the government notice of Exhibit 1749, and they did give the government notice of Exhibit 1751. But Exhibit 1750, this birthday wishes video, they did not. Now, I have reason to believe, I have suspicion, I have a conspiracy theory that this video Diddy has had it the whole time. He didn't turn it over to the prosecution, and somehow, some way, he or his team somehow, this is a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. I have, no certain proof for this. It's my opinion and my belief. I reserve the right to change my mind. But I think Diddy basically had, or his team basically had this video planted. I think they had it the whole time. I think they knew about it the whole time, and they just didn't turn it over to the government. And they had some little AstroTurf fake website or whatever put the video out to the public, because this is a private video. This was a private video sent to Diddy, a happy birthday video. So how did it get off Diddy's phone onto some random blog website for everybody, DJ Academics and the rest, to be talking about it? That's what I want to know. I have some theories, So the government's like, we object. We object to this video being shown. The judge says, Mr. Steele, you're just about to show a video in my courtroom? You haven't laid any type of foundation. Take this video down. What are you doing? Steele says, did you work as an assistant to someone? Mia says, maybe 2008, 2007. I'm really not sure. Well, you had a resume, Steele said, saying you had the ability to multitask and you have thick skin. Mia said, I don't know if I wrote that. That's not ringing a bell to me, Brian. Well, you did say you were able to deal with uncomfortable situations 24/7. Objection, Your Honor. What the hell? The prosecutors are like, why? This man is just reading shit that's not even in evidence. What's the point of evidence rules if he can just barge up in here and throw stuff up on the screen and start reading from we don't even God knows what? And the judges already had like quite a bit, enough of all these same, and it's just like cumulative is what the judge had said. The judge said, overruled, you can read from her CV. Did you use this as your CV? Mia said, it looks like it. I want to introduce exhibit number 1753-R for admission. And then Brian Steele asks, you went to James Madison University. This is a well-known institution. She's like, sure, I guess. Then you were a design assistant, Brian Steele says. And then in 2008 to 2009, you say you provided round-the-clock support, all personal and professional needs, keeping passports. They were all collected. She said, I don't exactly remember. I didn't travel. She said, but you did travel with Diddy's companies. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I traveled with Diddy's companies. Yeah. Mia says. All right, let's go to CNN. They have some updates flying in. Okay. 47 minutes ago, the judges on the bench discussing matters with prosecutors and defense attorneys. They're talking about exhibits the defense wants to submit. That's Diddy. They wanted to put in exhibits. 11 minutes ago, Mia back on the stand. Former hotel security. Oh, former hotel security. So that's who's Garcia. I need to write down. I have my little witness list. Eddie Garcia, former hotel security. So who's 16? So we're going to have, there's a few names I've heard here, like Josh Croft, Cruz, the former CEO of Bad Boy or whatever, Cruz, I think his last name, Cruz. Then we got Eddie Garcia. former bad boy security. Oh man. Okay. So this is and not bad boy security, excuse me. This is Eddie Garcia, the former security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel. He's the one who came in this morning and said, I plead the fifth, not me. No, not it. Y'all not getting me for Diddy stuff. The judge said Friday that he would sign an immunity order compelling Garcia to testify. The former Intercontinental Hotel employee is expected to testify later today. Excuse me, I am still a little bit recovering from the C25. Okay, here's Brian and who? That must be the other lawyer, one of the other lawyers. I don't know about them white socks. I don't know about them socks with that outfit. No, this is not a good. He needs a fitter. It looks expensive, but it don't fit good. Okay. Today, more deep dives are expected into the social media posts. He's hoping to enter into evidence. Brian Steele is hoping to enter into evidence. Videos or pictures or social media posts that show the personal assistant taking shots and drinking. The judge has ruled at least one piece of the evidence is not admissible, calling it an effort to embarrass the witness. Who has testified that Diddy arred and physically abused her. 11 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post, since the start of the trial on Monday, May 12th, mornings at the trial have included lengthy housekeeping discussions that take place before the jury comes in. Today, the court spent a bit of time debating what the government believes to be one of the most important pieces of evidence in the trial. Video footage of Diddy attacking Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016. Diddy's team has indicated several times in court filings that it would like to challenge the accuracy of the footage. A cell phone recording of the hotel surveillance footage, and also there's two different versions of the footage. One is like this guy, he already testified, but he like took a video recording of the footage on his cell phone. So it's like a phone, it's like phoneception, it's like videoception. He's like recording, like you're holding your phone up and you're recording a screen. But there's also like the actual security footage they somehow obtained. Prosecutors, anticipating this argument, would like to call a supervisor at the Intercontinental Hotel, because this is a security supervisor, Eddie Garcia, to speak more on the video. This could be a problem for Diddy's team, which would like to limit the amount of times the jury sees that footage, which they have deemed to be extremely prejudicial. Okay, let's go to NBC. So I wanted to read this one to y'all, at least skim it. This is NBC News. Eric Ortiz and Dion J. Hampton writing an hour ago. And look at the title. A criminal enterprise may be emerging in Diddy's trial. Testimony by the former employees could prop up the prosecution's case that Diddy allegedly oversaw a criminal enterprise that relied on employees and other accomplices to carry out illegal acts. Capricorn Clark, a former assistant to the music mogul, said Diddy was on a revenge mission in 2011 after learning that rapper Kid Cudi was also dating his girlfriend, R&B singer Cassie. But they also alleged that they weren't dating. So I don't know if it's actually like fully accurate to say that it was Diddy's girlfriend at the time, because Kid Cudi didn't think they were dating. Cassie didn't think they were dating. Clark testified last week that Diddy, armed with a pew-pew, commanded her to go with him to Kid Cudi's Hollywood Hills estate. Another accuser, who used the pseudonym Mia on the witness stand, testified that she also worked as Diddy's personal assistant for several years and alleged that he sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions during that time. 55 minutes ago, court started. Marlena Linthang and Adam Rice reporting. Day 14 of testimony. Who's expected to testify today? Mia is supposed to continue. The following witnesses are also expected: Enrique Santos and Eddie Garcia. They are expected to testify with immunity. So Enrique Santos apparently also apparently getting immunity. Who is this? I don't know. Sylvia Okun, a hotel custodian, and Frank Piazza, a forensic video expert. So I think Frank Piazza is probably the government's expert because the Connor McCourt was previously listed as Diddy's, but maybe he has two. 26 minutes ago, 9:11 a.m., Adam Rice and David K. Lee, defense is readying its attack on alleged victim Mia. The judge this morning denied defense efforts to show Mia drinking and having fun on vacation as Diddy's team previewed its line of attack on the key government witness. Defense attorney Brian Steele said the footage from Honduras would go to his argument that Mia was let go from Combs Enterprises because of alcohol abuse. But the judge sided with the prosecution, claiming that this footage of Mia doing shots is just more prejudicial than probative, and taking shots doesn't mean you're an alcoholic. Okay. 15 minutes ago, hotel security manager invokes Fifth Amendment. Eddie Garcia, a security supervisor at the LA hotel where Diddy was filmed attacking Cassie, briefly took the witness stand this morning to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. The appearance was highly procedural, just so Garcia could put that request on the record and prompt the government to assure him he is going to be free from prosecution as long as he testifies truthfully. He left the witness stand, but he is expected to return later today. 14 minutes ago, Mia was back on the stand. She wore a blouse, slacks. I don't want to describe her. Defense, 1 minute ago, NBC. The defense begins by having Mia go over her qualifications and her, quote, thick skin. This is Adam Rice and Doha Madani. Defense attorney Brian Steele opened his line of questioning today, having Mia go over her resume, asking whether she remembered telling Diddy that she was multitasker, worked well with under pressure, and had thick skin. Mia told Steele she doesn't remember writing that, but that she had thick skin. He later asked her if she thought of herself as a leader, which Mia didn't exactly know how to respond to. She did agree that she does speak up for herself and could multitask under pressure. When asked directly if she had thick skin, Mia said she thought she did. Okay, 4 minutes ago, CNN.com, defense attorney Brian Steele is going through a resume that Mia created before she started working for Diddy. The resume said she provided round-the-clock support to Mike Myers when she was his assistant in 2008 and 2009. She pointed out that the resume did say she had thick skin. She said, "I thought I did," Mia said. Okay. Brian Steele is still asking these questions. Okay, so the last tweet we read from Inner City Press was 11 minutes ago. Diddy's attorney, Brian Steele, says, in 2008, 2009, you say you provided round-the-clock support, all personal and professional needs, keeping passports. They were all collected. She said, I don't exactly remember because I didn't travel. She's like, with Mike Myers, I didn't travel. So I didn't collect passports. I guess Brian Steele's trying to show that this is industry standard to take all the passports for all your staff and just hold them hostage. But I mean, I think that's a little bit strange. Mia said, well, with Mike Myers, I didn't travel with him. Okay, but you did travel with Diddy, didn't you? She said, oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. So when you said they had your passport, they had everyone's passport. Isn't that true? She said, yeah, they had everybody's passport. Maybe nobody could leave. And you consider yourself to be a strong person? She said, I'm good at teaching people, not necessarily I'm at enforcing things. But you consider yourself to be a leader, wouldn't you? She's like, I don't know about all that. Let's go to the Independent. Okay, we get a little journal entry here from Ariana Bayo from New York. This is the Independent, 31 minutes ago. Sunny morning. As week 4 of the trial begins, I'm back, Ariana said, at the federal court for the continuation of the cross-examination of Mia, a former Diddy employee who has testified about witnessing and experiencing his abuse. It's a sunny but cool morning. Is it ever going to get warm, y'all? It is June and it is cold on the East Coast. It's sunny but cool in Manhattan. On Friday, we left off in cross-examination with Brian Steele, a defense attorney for Diddy, questioning Mia's testimony using old social media posts she made praising Diddy. Steele accused Mia of lying about her recount of sexual abuse at the hands of Diddy, insinuating that the contact was not unwanted. Mia returns to the stand. I'm just making sure we're caught up with everything. This is the Mirror. Brian said, "But you do speak up for yourself, don't you?" She's like, "No." "But you empower other people, true?" She said, yeah, I guess you could say that. "Let's look at your text messages. In Exhibit 1730. She said, "Yeah, that sounds like me." "So now let's show the jury Exhibit 1733. You left Diddy's employment March 2017? She said, "Yes, that's when I stopped working for Diddy." Okay. Things seem to have slowed down a bit. Mel said, "Could this be the one who actually deleted the video?" I think it must be. That's my opinion. Because, and we'll see today when he comes up to testify, but this Eddie Garcia, I think, was the remember whenever the first guy, what was his name? Israel Flores, the one who took the video on his phone, the phone video, he said when he returned to work a few days later to look for that footage of Diddy that he had seen, it was gone. It was deleted. But he also said that he didn't, when he was there that day when the incident happened at the Intercontinental Hotel, the guy who first testified, Israel Flores, he said that he did not have the permissions, the passcodes to log in and rewind the footage or even delete it or anything like that. That was the supervisor. So I'm just assuming this Eddie Garcia is the supervisor. And the reason that he's pleading the fifth is because maybe he was the one that actually deleted the footage. But we're going to see. We're going to see later. It could be. That was something that I did think. Thank you, Brissy Girl, for the $2 Australian. Thank you, Victoria Anderson, for the $4.99. Shout out to my uncle in the chat, Uncle Dutt. Shout out to the 504. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Once Uncle Dutt is in the chat, I'm not scared of nobody because he's going to come get y'all. My uncle's going to take care of y'all if y'all aren't doing anything untoward. Shout out to the 504. Thank you, Mary, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Shout out to CMT for the $1.99. Same person released YSL Woody interviews. If you know, you know. Huh. Thank you for the $1.99. I don't know. Shout out to you, Jew. Little cousin, family rooted in DeRitter. Yes, shout out to DeRitter. Do your thing. You represent well. Oh my gosh. Shout out to you, Jew. Thank you for the $99.99 super chat. Shout out to the cousins in DeRitter. Thank you, Renee, for the $2 super chat. Shout out to Jack Wilder. Thank you. Thank you. Gifting a membership. If you got that membership, you better say thank you to Jack. Shout out to Vic's Got an Opinion. New member. Becoming a member. Okay. Good morning. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. It's going to be a huge reveal because this is all connected and the web is webbing. Probably so. Well, I did know that, Kiki. I knew that he's the one that kind of had the whole YSL trial, but there were so many other things going on in that. Just like 52 defendants or something, wasn't it? Shout out to the cousins. All right, let's see if they did some more tweeting here. Okay. So she stopped working for him March 2017. Next question. What did you write to Diddy for Christmas 2018? Now remember, Christmas 2018 was a sad time for Diddy because Kim Porter had just died a month before, right? So a lot of people were reaching back out to Diddy. Everybody knew he really loved Kim, and I bet you they loved Kim. I bet you everybody who met her loved her. She seemed very sweet. She seemed like a little earth angel. She seemed like an angel on earth. I mean, I never met her, but she seemed like everybody loved her. So a lot of people were reaching out to Diddy around this time, condolencing and happy birthdaying and Merry Christmasing and things. So Brian Steele says, what did you write to Diddy Christmas 2018? She said, I wrote Merry Christmas, love you, I love you, and the New Year's. I had just seen him at Kim's funeral. So she went to Kim Porter's funeral. Question, you reached out to him? Mia says, absolutely. Yeah, I did. And what about this 2019 message? She said, I wrote, I had a nightmare. I was being chased by R. Kelly and you saved me. The person you say R'd you saved you in your dream? Objection. Okay, the judge is like, yeah, I mean, you need to rephrase this question. Okay, here, what did you write? Sending you all the love in the world. Now, here's the other thing too. Like, someone could be a victim of something and not know it. There's that option. Like, not everybody knows the legal definition of every single crime. Okay. Now, this is Brian Steele doing what lawyers do. I do believe everybody is, entitled to a zealous defense. But just because you reach out to somebody and say love you doesn't mean they didn't R you. Now, I can understand how some of y'all have a hard time wrapping your mind around that. I understand how some of y'all would never do that. But it doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. The only people knows that whether it happened or not is like the people there. And if Diddy is convicted, then it happened and we can all say it, he's guilty of it. But you have to be really careful because I think that because the defense doesn't have a strong defense, they're not really asking about the stuff that's really indefensible. They're just trying to destroy this woman's credibility, trying to destroy her confidence, trying to destroy her certainty. And I also think trying to send a message that anybody else that thinks that they're going to testify against Diddy is going to get beat up like this. Because with Cassie, they really didn't beat her up. They did go a little above and beyond. I think it was gratuitous in any event. However, maybe it was because she was pregnant. Maybe it was because Mark Agnifilo just doesn't do it this way. Or who questioned her? Anna Estevallo. Whoever it was. Maybe it was good they just don't do it that way. Who did question her? Westmoreland? Was it Attorney Westmoreland? I don't even remember now. Okay. So she's texting him though. Okay. She's texting Diddy. And so what Diddy's team is trying to do is say, there's no way Diddy abused this girl. Because if he did, she would never text him again. And we all know that's just not necessarily the case. Like people can be abused and text somebody. Now, does it make for a good look? Does it make for a slam dunk case for the prosecution? Well, no, it doesn't. However, life is messy and there's no such thing as what you call a perfect victim. She wrote to him, happy birthday, Christmas, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, whatever, 2018. She said she had just gone to Kim Porter's funeral. What about this message the next year, 2019? She had a nightmare. She was being chased by R. Kelly and Diddy saved her. And here, what did you write? She said, sending you all the love in the world. Brian Steele said, you were not in his grip anymore. Mia said, yeah, but it's psychological. Like this is normal. Like she's trying to explain it. And I think she was doing a better job at first. I mean, I don't know, because I'm not in the courtroom. All I can do is read these tweets. But I think at first when she was like, I can't really explain it to you. You got to ask a doctor. You got to ask somebody that understands this stuff, because to me, it also doesn't really make sense. Like, why would I keep reaching out to him? But it's just like this psychological cycle. Like you're trying to earn their favor, because if you earn their favor, then they're not going to abuse you anymore. Maybe I'm a people pleaser. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. And Brian Steele's like, Why do you keep referring to psychology? Why did you do this? Kim Porter's tragic death was 5 whole months before this. You were still reaching out to Diddy? She said, yeah, 5 months is not a lot. And it really isn't. I mean, my dad's been gone. It'll be what, 5, 7 years, and it just doesn't, it feels like it was just a million years ago, but also yesterday. Okay. So then Brian Steele starts getting a little sassier. He's getting a little bit sassier. What didn't you understand? That Mr. Combs was brutal to you. What didn't you understand? Diddy was apparently so brutal to you. Why did you write this? Objection, Your Honor. Objection, the prosecution says. This is argumentative. He's just beating her up for no reason. It's not helping anything. The judge said, yeah, get your ass over here to the sidebar. So they're doing that. They're playing the white noise. Let's go to CNN and see if they've said anything for 18 minutes. Okay, they did just now. Puff used to be my protector, the witness said. The defense team is going through text messages between Diddy and his former assistant, Mia. In 2018, Mia texted Diddy during the Christmas and New Year holidays. Merry Christmas, love you so much. She had just seen Diddy at Kim Porter's funeral. Porter died November 2018. A few weeks later, January 15th, Mia texted Diddy. She was thinking about him because she had a nightmare that she was trapped in an elevator with R. Kelly. And Diddy saved her, according to a message. Now, didn't we just read a story on Friday or Thursday about somebody getting trapped in an elevator, Diddy, and then we're trapped in an elevator at the vote or die thing, or at the, God, what was that, his 40th birthday or something? We just read something about them all being trapped in an elevator. In March 2019, this is when Britney Spears was being tortured at Bridges to Recovery, according to her, in the same neighborhood where Diddy has his California house. And we haven't seen the raids from the California house yet, have we? I don't think we have. I don't think we saw what they found in the California house in the pictures yet. I think we saw in the Miami one. I think we saw the New York hotel room, but they haven't released those California house pictures. I'm wondering if it's the cases and cases of baby oil is in there. Because, I mean, we have seen a lot of baby oil, but 1,000 things of it. March 2019, the very, very first inception of the Free Britney movement proper. It's going to end up being important. I know y'all think it's like out of left field when I mention it, but it's a web in the webs. Okay, it's gonna become important. I'm telling you, in my psychic prediction. She also reached out to him in March, sending all the love in the world. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she was still under Diddy's grip at that time, even though she wasn't working for him anymore. She said, yeah, she still was, psychologically. She said also, Puff used to be my protector. Also, these were based around tragic events that happened in his life. She pointed out that the text was sent within a few months of Kim Porter passing away. Okay. We have 2 more updates from the Washington Post, one from 19 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan. Brian Steele has begun his cross-examination of Mia, a former assistant to Diddy who claims he has assaulted her on multiple occasions. Steele began by asking Mia, who is testifying under a pseudonym, about where she went to college, James Madison University, when she graduated, it was 2005, and what her GPA was. But the prosecution objected, and the judge was like, what does it have to do with anything? We're not going to get into GPAs. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, Mia said. Wesley Parnell, 17 minutes ago, defense attorney Brian Steele, this is Washington Post, is asking former Diddy employee Mia pointed questions, like whether she was a leader or whether she could speak up for herself. She's getting visibly uncomfortable. She's reading from a resume that portrays her as a strong person while describing a job that demanded subservience. And you have thick skin. Steele said, reading off a resume from nearly 20 years ago. She said, I thought I did. Defense points out Mia's work history. The defense attorney asked Mia about her resume and work history before she assisted Diddy. Her resume says she worked for comedian Mike Myers from 2008 to 2009. Okay, defense hits out at Mia over her resume. The defense has opened their cross examination by grilling Mia on whether she remembered telling Diddy she worked well under pressure and had thick skin. She responded saying she doesn't exactly remember writing that. She had thick skin, and when asked directly whether she did, she said she thought she did. Mia did tell the court that she could multitask under pressure and that she does speak up for herself. Okay, they're back from the sidebar. Okay, so now Brian Steele, he says, what about May 14th, 2020? Who's Dre? Okay, hold on. What's this? Okay. Now, May 14th, 2020, you texted Mr. Combs. What did you say? Mia said, I said my heart is broken about Dre. In my spirituality, I know that when people are done with the physical world, it's that they have completed their mission. I love you. Brian Steele said, what's this about? Mia said he auditioned for the James Brown part that Chad Boseman got. I told Puff I would email him videos of his audition. I don't know who's he. Maybe like Diddy audition for the James Brown part. You carried around a video camera? Mia said, yeah, he required me to do it. Before iPhone, I was required to carry around a video camera. So that's a big point for the prosecution, right? Like people being required to carry around video cameras. Oh, nice. So you were required to carry around a video camera, Brian Steele says. Do you have any footage of Diddy beating you since you were so good at carrying around cameras? The prosecution was like, objection, Your Honor. This is argument or whatever she objected for. The judge said, no, I'm going to let that come through. She said, no, Brian, I don't have any footage of Diddy beating me because I wouldn't have been allowed to record that. Do you have anything about Diddy berating you? She said no, because that would have violated the confidentiality agreement that I signed. And you know these people hold those NDAs over these people's heads. Okay. Brian Steele says, but you don't have any text messages? She said, yeah, they should be one-on-one direct. Showing what, Mia? Mia said, Puff saying F it, let's go to war, all that stuff. Brian Steele said, oh, okay, so all that, I mean, that's pretty bad, but you don't have anything else? She's like, I mean, only reaching out to other people in the office, things other people had seen. What did you write here? I wrote, we had so many funny memories. OMG. Brian Steele said, okay, so anything in your phone about being brutalized by Mr. Combs? She said, I don't think so. Okay, so how are we supposed to find out whether you were brutalized? Which, I mean, it's obvious. Like, she's going to testify about it. She has circumstantial evidence, et cetera, other people, et cetera, et cetera. But the prosecutor's like, objection. And the judge finally is like, yeah, what? What do you mean? How are we supposed to find out about it? That's the whole point of court, stupid. Okay, so let's go to CNN. NBC has 2 new updates. Two minutes ago, Mia, this is Adam Rice and David K. Lee. The defense introduced a text message from Mia to Diddy. The title is Mia Nightmare, Trapped in Elevator with R. Kelly. The defense introduced a text message from Mia to Diddy in which she told Diddy that he once in a nightmare saved her from R. Kelly. She said January 15th, 2019, there was a text message. She had a terrible dream being trapped in an elevator with convicted criminal R. Kelly, but then Diddy came to rescue her. The judge sustained the government objection, preventing Mia from answering why her alleged attacker was framed as a savior in her dream. However, the defense still made its point to the jurors that despite the allegations Mia has made against Diddy, there were times when she did hold him in high esteem. 2 minutes ago, Adam Rice and Doha Madani from NBC News. The title is Mia reached out to Diddy because she felt bad about Kim Porter's death. When questioned about apparently loving texts Mia sent to Diddy in late 2018, early 2019, she testified that she felt bad for Diddy after the death of Kim Porter. Kim Porter, who was with Diddy for years and the mother of his children, died in November 2018 from pneumonia. Diddy's defense showed texts following that time where Mia wrote that she loved Diddy and dreamed of him as her savior. This was months after Kim Porter's death. Mia told the court she didn't think 5 months was a long time to recover from grief, and she hadn't yet understood what happened to her while working for Combs. She noted that there was a version of Diddy who did care for her, but he had all his alters all split out. Mia, next question. Didn't you have time away from Diddy to write, today he sexually assaulted me? She said, no, I did not have time. And I would not have written that. Okay, so August 29th, 2020, he wrote to you, glad you're well. Love, please send me the footage for the doc. So he reached out to her. He reached out to her in 2020, asking for footage for a documentary that he was apparently making. And remember this, Mia is the one that did the film project with him. Next question. Did he let you go from your employment? Didn't he? Mia said, yeah, I don't know why. It was confusing. I was called back eventually. Okay, but here it says he'll only remember the good times. Mia said, yeah, that's what it says right there. Five minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. Mia says, Combs was my tormentor and protector. Former Diddy employee Mia is now being asked to review text messages she sent to her ex-boss in 2018. She's alleged that Diddy assaulted her, and she read aloud from a 2018 text wishing him a Merry Christmas. I love you, she wrote, so much. Mia left Diddy's company in March 2017. Defense attorney Brian Steele then asked about another text she sent in which she said she had a nightmare about R. Kelly. I screamed for you, she wrote, and you came to rescue me. Brian Steele, as he did Friday, questioned why Mia would speak this way to a man she alleges sexually assaulted her. She said at the time she was still psychologically in thrall to Combs, and that even though Combs was her tormentor, he also was for years a sort of protector. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com says Combs' ex-assistant says she filmed him as part of her job. Former assistant for Diddy testified that Diddy required her to carry around a pocket video camera to record him before he hired full-time videographers. Brian Steele asked Mia if she had any videos of Diddy berating her on any of her cameras in a moment of rage. She said, absolutely not. I would not have been allowed to film that. I was filming whatever he wanted me to film. Filming Diddy in a moment of rage would have been a huge break of trust, loyalty, and confidentiality. Actually, that makes sense. That tracks. Okay. So the time is 2020, Brian Steele says. The Me Too movement has been going strong for 2 years, you could say. Remember the bad times, right? She said, I would never have said that. Brian Steele said, because it's not true. Objection, Your Honor, overruled. Steele said, you wrote what? She said, love you too. She said, I wrote so many crazy things, like Mick Jagger trying to take me home and that Baccarat game, my pink bedazzled iPhone. There's trillions of stories. Of course, I'll send to you. I was bamboozled by Heather. Remember the scrapbook I made you? I got you. Okay, Mick Jagger. That's Rolling Stone. Okay, never mind. Okay, so she had all this footage. So this is a text message she apparently wrote. So many crazy things. Mick Jagger trying to take me home, the Baccarat game, my pink bedazzled iPhone. There's trillions of stories. Of course, I'll send to you. I was bamboozled by Heather. Remember the scrapbook I made you? I got you. I don't know what the context of that is. Thank you to Mitzi for the $4.99 super chat, sending prayers and praying for justice. Thanks for all your hard work. Shout out from Dallas. Yes, shout out to the Dallas cousins. Thank you so much, Mitzi Moreno, for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Chris, for the $6.99 Canadian. I hope you're feeling better. Do you think they missed out on some important details for not raiding that second house in Miami? I do wonder. I do wonder. I've thought about it quite a bit, Chris DL. Thanks so much for the $6.99. Thanks so much, Carrie Lee, for the $5 super chat. Did you happen to see Gene Deal's most recent interview on the Art of Dialogue? Very interesting and good for him defending Cass. No, I didn't see it, but I did see he did do it. I see he did an interview. It's so hard for me to keep up though, y'all, with everything going on. I'm on here like 7 hours a day and then I'm just exhausted by the end of the day. Hit slow mode by the mods. Target in real life. I have to have a large platform. Thank you so much, Carrie, for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Nicole. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. My cousin Nicole. People inside said they are swaying. The jury is swaying with Steele's questioning. Is slow mode by the mods targeted? No, slow mode is for everybody, Nicole. It's just because when we get a whole lot of new people in here, sometimes it's bots. So if it's like a bot in here spamming, it'll just let it go. I don't put the slow mode on. The mods do that. I'll leave that to them to use up to their discretion, their discernment. If y'all appreciate what the mods are doing, most of their links are in the chat below. There's a couple more I'm waiting to get back. But if y'all want to support the mods, the links are in the description box. So is Inner City Press's link in the description box below. Thanks so much for the $5, Nicole. In real life, I have to have a large platform. I don't know what you mean on that part. Thank you, Letitia, for the €2 for the €2. Eddie Garcia is the LA Intercontinental Hotel supervisor. Okay. Thank you. Yep, no problem. Yes, like and share. Yeah, it would be very hard to be a criminal defense lawyer. But y'all, a lot of people are innocent and they do need a good defense lawyer. And a lot of people will lie in court. So I understand, everything has to play its way out, but okay, so this is 2020. Brian Steele says, why didn't you write, you bamboozled me? You wrote, you were bamboozled by Heather. She said, because I was brainwashed. Brian Steele said, by who? Mia said, by Puff. How did he bamboozle you with a part of his body without your consent? Objection, Your Honor, says the prosecutor. And the judge is like, yeah, what the hell are you doing, Brian? Please, no, you can't ask that. New update from CNN. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com former assistant testifies that she didn't tell anyone about abuse from Diddy at the time. Brian Steele asked Mia if she told anyone about the abuse she claims she endured from Diddy while it was happening. Do you have anything where you contemporaneously wrote to a friend, a family member, police officer, anybody, anything that said what was going on? I'm being assaulted, berated, anything? She said, no. The only time I reached out for help was very subtly to people in the office, but not disclosing things that other people hadn't witnessed. I would never do that. And again, y'all remember, she wasn't even going to report this to the police, and she never did. She said she wanted to take this to her grave. She had no desire to talk about this. She didn't want to talk about this. She didn't want to go to court over this. She's testifying under a pseudonym. She said, I would have never told anyone about this stuff. Even whenever we had our financial settlement for my overtime pay and my overages and my all of that, I didn't even bring it up to my lawyer that he did this SUL stuff. And I didn't want to. I didn't tell anybody because that was my point. I didn't want to. Brian Steele went on to ask Mia if the text messages shown today, including instances where she sent him holiday greetings and said, love you, demonstrate, quote, almost a loving relationship between Mia and Combs. She said, I am sending him support and love. Yes. And this isn't the only person we saw doing this, right? I mean, I think 2 of the other former assistants sent him support and love. 4 minutes ago, NBC News, Mia never recorded Diddy during an outburst. Despite her near constant contact with Diddy while she worked for him, she admits she doesn't have any video of the music mogul during a fit of rage. She also conceded she doesn't have text messages to friends to note any violent outbursts by Diddy. She testified that she wouldn't have made such documentation because to do so would have broken trust and confidentiality between her and her employer at the time. Brian Steele says, what does brainwashing mean, Mia? She said, I don't know. The highs are really high. The lows are really low. I was punished when Puff was violent. He made me believe that I did something wrong. He was praised by the public. She previously testified nobody ever even so much as flinched when he was doing this stuff. So, I mean, it was like I was gaslit. I was told, this was normal or whatever. Nobody acted like anything was weird with it. Stuff like that. Okay. But asking like her what brainwashing means is kind of silly. Like, I don't know, ask a freaking expert. Next question. So you were aware of the Me Too movement, but no outcry of you? Why? Mia said he was going to tell Cassie what happened, and Cassie was my friend. I internalized the blame and the shame. Who threatened you to tell Cassie about Diddy supposedly sexually assaulting you? Diddy! Puff! Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. Do you need a brain scan, Brian? I said this many times. Diddy said, I'm going to tell Cassie everything. I knew it was a SA, but I didn't know if Cassie was going to believe me or Diddy. He's good at lying. And I do think he is just trying to like abuse her on the stand and just get her riled up and shake her and make her look like crazy or unhinged or something. And I hope it doesn't work. But this is why you pay these lawyers so freaking much money. Because Brian Steele is obviously willing to lie in court under, penalty of professional consequences. He said a video that was 30 seconds long is 8 seconds long. So either he can't count or he's a liar. So I know y'all like him, but anybody that could lie in court or anybody that could be that stupid and get 30 seconds mixed up with 8 seconds whenever it's like a video that's already like suspiciously like not handed over in the right amount of time with the right amount of notice. I'm just suspicious of the ethics and the morals of that person. I know y'all like him, but you could like somebody ain't got no morals. You could like a liar. A case in point, Mia apparently still loved Diddy. Okay. "4 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell from the Washington Post said Mia, who was Diddy's former assistant, testified that he would often make her follow him around and write down the funny things he said in her notes app. Quote, did you ever produce any random notes that showed Diddy was anything but professional with you? Do you have any notes that Diddy was violent toward you?" And she was like, "No." And then Steele's like, "'Cause it's not true, is it?" She said, "I will not lie in this courtroom. I will never lie in this courtroom. I was still brainwashed. That is my story." Again, Wesley Parnell, 1 minute ago, Washington Post, defense attorney Brian Steele's line of questioning is exhaustively granular. He's picking out positive interactions between Diddy and his former employee, Mia, who's testifying under a pseudonym, and asking her to explain how a tormented victim could also be so affectionate. She has now read out more than 50 text messages between the pair over 2 days of testimony. This morning, the prosecution pointed out that Steele has submitted nearly 30 additional exhibits. This was the same line of questioning he followed Friday. And he's apparently going to do it all morning. 2 minutes ago, we get another update from NBC News. This is Adam Rice and Doha Madani. The defense tries to undermine sexual assault allegations, but Mia says she was brainwashed. Defense attorney Brian Steele pushed Mia about her testimony last week, where she said Diddy sexually assaulted her, asking point blank whether the assault testimony was true. "I would not lie in this courtroom. I never lied in this courtroom. Everything I have said is true." Brian Steele had shown the court multiple messages from Mia to Diddy between 2018 and 2020, after she stopped working for Diddy, where she expressed love and good memories. In one message from August 2020, she wrote that the only things to remember were the good times. Mia told the court that Diddy had brainwashed her. She testified that the environment she was in was filled with high highs and very low lows. She testified that she was always seeking Diddy's approval. And I think this is the type of person that Diddy seeks out. Like, he likes these very, very hardworking, thick skin, anything goes, worker bee, like just work, and people pleasers. I think that's what he likes. It's almost like he would profile the people. My nose is so itchy. I'm having allergies. Okay. Updating Inner City Press. Okay. You were aware that this is the most recent tweet we read. "You were aware of the Me Too movement, no outcry of you. Why?" And then she explained, because he said he was going to tell Cassie that we had like hooked up, whenever in reality we didn't hook up. It was actually, he assaulted me, and I didn't want him to tell Cassie that. I didn't want anybody to know that. She's like, "I was internalizing the blame and the shame." Who threatened you? Like, Brian all of a sudden has dementia or amnesia or something. He might need a conservatorship or jail. But who threatened you? Like, he's forgotten all of a sudden that it was Diddy who threatened. But again, this could help Brian Steele, because it's not like fully showing an enterprise, because their whole thing is like, this isn't an enterprise. Anything that happened was consensual. Diddy was not using his enterprise to abuse people. This was just a toxic relationship with Cassie. So they do have to destroy this witness, because it's the other victim. There's 4 victims. Victim 3 apparently is missing or ain't coming. I think that's Gina. Victim 1 was Cassie. So they weren't able to fully destroy her credibility as much as they probably want to, because she was pregnant. So they have to destroy this girl, and they're trying. But it doesn't help him in this way, because it makes Brian look like he's not even paying attention or listening. Next question. Why didn't you respond? Great. Let's tell everyone what you did to me, right? Whenever Diddy said, "I'm going to tell Cassie." Why didn't you say, "Good, you should tell her, because then I'm going to tell her what happened, what you did to me"? Objection, Your Honor. Please, this has been going on for 2 days. The judge said, okay, seriously, can we move on, Brian? Can we get to a different point? Fine. Brian says, you said you have a moral obligation to speak up. She said, now I do, yeah. Why you didn't have a moral obligation in 2017, Mia? She said, I was brainwashed. I mean, I would say because he wasn't on trial in 2017. But she's saying, even if he was, she probably would not have been able to speak up. Okay, when did you first say me too? Mia said, the first time I said me too was the first time I saw Diddy being held responsible. Now I have therapy. Brian Steele said, okay, Diddy wrote, I got to find that. You got a copy. What does it refer to? She said, I think he means the James Brown video. Steele said, no, he's talking about the scrapbook. And now that scrapbook is being used against Mia in court. The scrapbook that she so painstakingly put together for him in a moment of love. Now it's being turned back on her. Mia said, I think I have PDFs. I think I gave it to you for a birthday in your house on Mapleton. This is the LA house. I customized that purple leather suit so you could walk, not giving an F. If y'all can't find it, I will, but I didn't. So Brian Steele said, so you did have a PDF. Mia said, I thought so. I thought I had a PDF. So now they're trying to, I guess, get to a PDF copy of this scrapbook document. What did you write here? Mia said, my grandma went into hospice, so I have to fly out. I have to miss your event here in my hometown. C'est la vie. That means like such as life or whatever. Effing crush it and make history. Heart emoji. And then Brian Steele's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Deepest sympathy for your grandmother. Mia's like, thanks. We have an update from CNN 2 minutes ago. Quote, nobody around batted an eye when Diddy misbehaved, former assistant said. She said nobody around batted an eye when Diddy misbehaved. He was still praised by everyone in his circle and in public. Quote, I was always constantly seeking his approval. He was my authority figure, my only authority figure. And, we do know Diddy, according to testimony, likes to have people call him daddy and pop and all of that. Puff daddy, P daddy, and all of that. PP daddy, I heard. Okay. So what was this message about? Brian Steele asks. So he's just going through text messages like, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? And he's just 30 exhibits. He's just going. She said there had been some terrible event with the police. Pharrell had organized an event to change the narrative of Beach Week. She said, I think that's a college thing. Brian Steele said, but you wanted to see Diddy. She said, I really didn't, but I did say that I did. So I hashtag I lied. Okay, we have a new Washington Post author, Carla Spartos. Just now, she updated the following. As our colleague Shayna Jacobs pointed out earlier in the trial, several witnesses who have worked for Diddy have expressed a cult-like adoration for him. Mia, a former employee testifying under a pseudonym, just said she was brainwashed after being at Diddy's beck and call for years. Another former assistant, George Kaplan, previously likened Diddy to a, quote, god among men. He must be one of them ones that's a little degenerate. A defective degenerate one. Defense tries to discredit, this is The Independent, Hold on. Defense tries to discredit Mia's claims of sexual abuse. Brian Steele asked Mia if she was telling the truth when she testified last week that Diddy sexually assaulted her. She said, "I would not lie in this courtroom. I never lied in this courtroom. Everything I said is true." He asked a similar question when he began cross-examining Mia on Friday. He also asked Mia if she ever wrote to a friend, a family member, a police officer, anybody, telling them she was assaulted. "No," she said. "The only time I reached out for help was very subtly to people in the office, but I did not disclose things that other people hadn't witnessed, and I would never." 1 minute ago, Mia testified that she was brainwashed and she was seeking his approval constantly. "I was always constantly seeking his approval. He was my authority figure, my only authority figure." Okay. Waiting for another update there in Inner City Press. Thanks so much, Carrie Lee. By the way, love your objections. Yeah, I'm trying, cousin. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you, Being a Baby, for the $4.99. It's not uncommon for trauma victims to pretend nothing happened and go out of their way to be kind to their abuser. Defense is it's a defense mechanism created out of fear. Okay, thank you for that insight. That does definitely track with things I've seen. Thanks so much for the $4.99. Thank you, Kimberly, for the $2 super chat. I hope you follow that lawsuit as well. Which one? The Jay-Z one? That thing's crazy, huh? Thanks so much for the $2 super chats. Thanks so much to the Roz Rodriguez for the $4.99. Have I seen the 10-minute video covering this on YouTube? No, I have not seen that video. But thank you for the $4.99 super chat, y'all. I don't really have time to be watching too much videos. Especially at the moment. Hold on. I'm trying to adjust my space heater. It's hot in here. Hold on. Okay. I don't know if that worked. Thank you, Mr. Lord, for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. Shout out to you. Diddy's sister is a mental health advocate. Vic's got an opinion, said. Thank you for the $2 super chat. That's interesting. That really does wrap around back to the Jay-Z stuff, the Bam stuff, doesn't it? The Wendy Williams stuff. Wow. Thank you for the $2 super chat and for that tip. Thank you, Carrie Lee, for the $5 super chat. So Gene Deal did say Diddy is instructing his attorneys, and the jury was shocked. That the jury was shocked that the attorneys are following Diddy's requests. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I'm not that shocked. Want to know why? Because that's who pays them. Kimmy Girl said she should help her brother. A lot of these mental health advocates don't actually help. That's the irony. Has anyone said anything about the current lawsuit against Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley? Some people have talked about it. I haven't had a chance to review that myself. Oh, I am like literally hot. I wonder if I have fever. Turn the fan on for a minute. We got an update from CNN. At least somebody's working out here. I mean, Inner City Press is definitely working. But NBC and the rest are a little slow. Okay. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, Combs' former assistant, that's Mia, she's still being cross-examined right now, says Diddy's threats made her internalize blame and shame. She said Diddy threatened to tell Cassie about what happened between him and Mia, which made Mia internalize blame and shame. Mia has been testifying about the violence and abuse, verbal, physical, and sexual, she claims that she experienced while employed by Diddy. Quote, okay, this is a long quote, so let's read this. I mean, not that long, but longer than we usually get, absent of transcripts. Also, shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News. I was doing some shout outs the other day to other creators, and I guess because I just like shout out Rabbit all the time, it's just slipped my mind to shout her out. But shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News. She's getting the transcripts, she's reading through them, and it's like very soon after. I think she already got the first transcript of the first day Mia was on the stand, and she's reading through them. So we do have those up on the screen. I would say to go and follow her because she gets them up quick and she reads them to her audience on the videos. And she snips them pretty short. I mean, they're like an hour to 2 hours for the whole testimony, for like a day of testimony. So here's a quote from today from Mia. Nobody, then from CNN.com at least. I mean, I wasn't in there, but that's what they say. And so I don't know, take it for what it is. Quote, nobody acted like what was happening to me was wrong. And Diddy's threats that he was going to tell Cassie about what happened made me internalize blame and shame. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia why she didn't want Diddy to tell Cassie that he had sexually assaulted her. She responded that Diddy didn't use those words, stupid. She didn't say stupid. This is the quote. Quote, he threatened to tell Cassie, quote unquote, everything, which made me feel like I had done something wrong. I don't know how to explain what that does to a person, she testified. I don't know how to explain it, Brian. I don't know. Ask a freaking doctor or something. Just telling you what happened. 1 minute ago, NBCnews.com, Adam Rice, Ying Feng, and David K. Lee said Mia says she was terrified and brainwashed, and that made her hesitant to come forward. She said she was terrified and brainwashed, preventing her from coming forward earlier with the allegations of assault. When defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she had a moral obligation to report Combs immediately, she said she didn't. And she said the reason that I didn't have that was because I was scared. I was terrified, she said, and brainwashed. It was only when others came forward publicly that Mia said she elected to finally do so. Quote, it has been a long process. I'm still untangling these things, and I'm in therapy. Okay. So now Brian Steele is trying to, again, for the third, fourth time, trying to get in this birthday video that was mysteriously released by a random website, a private video, a private happy birthday video that was randomly somehow released right the day before Brian Steele needed to use it in court. Anyway, my hometown, she says, of Virginia Beach doesn't usually get this type of attention. So you're telling the jury you were scared of Mr. Combs. Isn't that true? She said, I was. When he was acting crazy, yes, I was scared of him. Okay, listen to 1750. Tell me if you recognize it. Then Brian Steele says, I move to admit this video. It looks like it's two of them. 1750 and 1750R. The judge said, the prosecutor said, we object. We object to this. The proper basis for admission has not been established. So previously, the judge had said, if the witness, if Mia, claims she doesn't remember making the video, or that she didn't make the video, the judge said Brian Steele can ask, did you make this video? And she could answer. If she answers no, then maybe it could be admitted for impeachment. But if she answered, yes, I remember making this video, then Brian Steele can't get the video in. So that was the last word that I heard about it from the judge. And the assistant U.S. attorney, the prosecutors, the feds are saying, Your Honor, he didn't meet the threshold. He just keeps trying to ram this video down everybody's throat. And what's the point of a rule of evidence? The judge said, okay, yeah, true. Come back up here, Brian. Let's have a sidebar. Just doing some AstroTurf management. I have to block these AstroTurf accounts. Thanks so much to the Roz Rodriguez. The vid mentioned is of you. Oh, interesting. Well, I'll have to go check that out. Thank you so much for letting me know and for the 199 super chat. Thanks so much, Kel on Earth, for gifting 5 That Surprise Witness memberships. Shout out to you. Thank you, Christopher Jones, for the 499 super chat. Did I see the CEO of Rock Nation Marchman acted / put in a mental hospital for 2 weeks against her will, her own daughter, and she's suing her mom. And it was on the news yesterday. Yes, Christopher, the first, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the video today, I actually read through some of that lawsuit. I got to read through more of the stuff. It looks like Rock Nation has already filed to dismiss the lawsuit. And also 2 judges have also been recused from this case already. And it just was filed less than a month ago. So just very interesting stuff going on here. Very interesting. Shout out to you. Thank you for the 499 super chat. Okay. So the judge is allowing it to be admitted. I was trying not to show the assistant publicly because that was what the court ruled. I didn't know that Inner City Press was going to post this link. It is public. I'm personally going to try to not have the identity of the witness shown here. So it's public. I mean, I can't stop people from doing stuff, but on my platform, I'm not allowing it to be, discussed and stuff because many reasons. So that being said, the judge is going to allow the jury to see the happy birthday video. Now, remember earlier, they were trying to put this happy birthday video in because they thought she was lying. Like Mark Agnifilo was like, she's acting on the stand, like she's crying and stuff on the stand. She's just full of shit. She's just lying. I think that's a little bit harsh. Let me see. I'm just looking through the other sources. Trump said he would consider pardoning Diddy, but 50 Cent pushes back. In case you missed it, Donald Trump on Friday said he would look into a possible pardon for Diddy if he's convicted. He was asked about the possibility at a White House news conference where he noted Diddy used to like him. I would look at what's happening. I haven't been watching it too closely. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, that wouldn't have any impact. But then 50 Cent, Uncle 50, who has clashed with Diddy for years and is working on a documentary against Diddy, indicated he would try to sway Trump against pardoning Diddy. In an Instagram post on his page Friday, he claimed Diddy had said some really bad things about Trump, adding that he would reach out so the president knows how 50 Cent feels about that guy, about Diddy. In another post, 50 Cent said, Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him. While working tirelessly to make America great again, there is no room for distraction. He would consider pardoning anyone who is being mistreated. Not Puff Daddy. So they're saying Puff Daddy's not, he's saying Puff Daddy is not being mistreated. I mean, I don't know. I'm almost hoping if anybody gets anything, I hope it's Lou Taylor. Can we hold out hope that she gets? Okay, the judge has decided now to take a 10-minute bathroom break. Okay. Let me see if there's any other sources. That have started. Because earlier, some of the sources weren't starting to tweet yet. Like here, I have the New York Post up. Fox News. All right. Let's check out the New York Post. We haven't read from them today. Thanks so much, Elsa, for the $2 super chat. I'm here for the dramatic readings. Thanks so much to Nicole for the $3.99 super sticker. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, there's not really very much being said over here on New York Post. An hour ago, I just kicked the camera. An hour ago, they did talk about jurors learn the detail of Diddy's ex-assistant's time working for Mike Myers. June 2008 through July 2009. Kept inventory, personal possessions, documentation, passports, driver's licenses, birth certificate, family certificates, memorabilia, awards, promotional items, supervised other assistants, and managed interviewing process. Then 47 minutes ago, they talked about the R. Kelly elevator incident. Now, Fox News is also back on the beat. Former assistant testifies she was psychologically trapped by Diddy. The former employee testified she was psychologically trapped by Diddy. His lawyer showed the jury a text message from March 2019. So this is like 2 years after she stopped working for him. In the text, Mia expressed her love for Diddy. Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, said Mia was not under the trap of Combs at this time, since she had stopped working for Diddy in 2017. But she claimed psychologically she still was. She explained Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, had just passed away and she felt horrible for him. Brian Steele asked Mia to explain why she was reaching out, and she said 5 months is not that long after a tragedy. She claimed the version of Diddy that treated her like a best friend protected her from other versions of him. He got all the demons. He's got a legion living up in there, infested. Mia also said she didn't understand what was happening with herself until recently. She started going to therapy, etc., etc. 6 minutes ago, Diddy's ex-assistant pushes back against Brian Steele and says, I never lied in this court. When Diddy's team continued to show the jury texts from Mia to Diddy, one from Mia from August 2020 was about life being crazy. Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, asked Mia if she had any notes on her phone about Diddy not being that showed Diddy not being professional. She said she doesn't know, but she doesn't think so. Then Brian Steele asked if Mia had time away from Diddy to write a note about the rapper allegedly sexually assaulting her, and she said no. In yet another text shown to the jury, Diddy asked for footage for his documentary and said he would only remember the good times. Steele noted the Me Too movement was alive and well and had been going on for several years, like 2 years by now. And yet Mia didn't respond that she only remembered the bad times. Mia said she would not have responded that way because she didn't only remember the bad times. She also did remember the good times. She said it's not, Steele said, it's because it's not true. Is it, Mia? Mia pushed back, telling the defense attorney, I never lied in this courtroom, and I never will lie in the courtroom. Everything I said was true. I wouldn't have been allowed to film that. Then Brian asked Brian Steele if Mia had any text messages. She said no. According to Mia, she did not discuss the assaults with anybody. She claims she didn't disclose those things to people that other people didn't witness. Steele asked if all the texts are positive, and Mia said, yeah, she was sending support and love. We have another update from NBC. 1 minute ago, this is Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and Doha Madani, Mia is still getting pushed by the defense for years of friendly communications with Diddy, despite her testimony that she feared him. In another text from Mia, this time from December 2022, in which she wishes Combs a happy holiday season, this was shown to the courtroom. The defense pointed out that Mia has told the jury she didn't want to see Diddy because she feared him. She was asked whether she was scared of him the entire time she knew him, including 2019 to 2022. And she said, I was scared of him when he was scary. Yeah. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, jury sees video Mia made Diddy for his 44th birthday. The jury saw a video that Mia made Diddy back in, this is like 12 years ago, 2013. She's sitting at a desk in the video, tells Diddy she was blessed to call him a friend and thanked him for being one of the biggest inspirations in her life. I love you. Happy birthday, she said in the video, blowing a kiss. Defense attorney Alexandra Shapiro said Monday morning that the video supports the defense team's argument that Mia is presenting a false persona. So if Mia acted like something 12 years ago in a birthday video, then she must be lying today on the stand 12 years later. There's no way. There's no way she's telling the truth today because 12 freaking years ago she said something. So everybody out there better know you're not allowed to change anything about how you feel or think. You're not allowed to change your persona. You're not allowed to change how you act between 2013 and today. And if you do, you're freaking lying. You're freaking lying. That's what Diddy's lawyers are saying. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But the judge let the video be shown. Okay, we get two new updates on the context of how people are acting inside this courtroom. Anne Brannigan says Diddy's behavior has been consistent throughout the trial. This is WashingtonPost.com. He continues to appear unmoved by any particular testimony. They must got him on the beta blockers. The former media mogul swiveled his head from defense attorney Brian Steele to the witness Mia throughout the morning's testimony. Sitting back in his usual seat at the defense table, Diddy propped his elbows on the arms of his chair. 5 minutes ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. Mia, on the other hand, has mostly kept her head down as she answers defense attorney Brian Steele's questions about her relationship to her former boss after she left his company. The former Sean Combs assistant, who is testifying under a pseudonym, is wearing a beige blazer and pants with a white blouse. Okay. Okay, they did go on a 10-minute break about 11 minutes ago, so I am expecting that they're going to be filing back into the courtroom any minute here. Just updating the other sources. Okay, 8 minutes ago, Mia says Diddy's alleged abuse forced her to internalize blame and shame. She said, quote, nobody acted like what was happening to me was wrong. And his threats about that he was going to tell Cassie about what happened made me internalize the blame and the shame as if she had done something wrong. Interesting. Mia's face was briefly shown on the courtroom feed. Her face was briefly shown on an internal courthouse feed though the error didn't elicit an immediate reaction in the courtroom. For about 8 seconds, a camera showed Mia, who was testifying under a pseudonym, despite the judge's order that her face not be shown or even drawn by courtroom sketch artists. When her face was shown in a feed to an overflow room, the prosecution didn't lodge an immediate objection. But I think the judge did say that her face could be shown to the overflow room because the overflow room people would be inside the court if they could. Like they already objected to it 2 days ago, 2 court days ago. Okay. Waiting for a cousin t-shirt, Holly said. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. You never know what could happen. Shout out to Suzanne becoming a member. Thanks so much to Krista for the 99-cent super chat. Thanks so much to Suzanne for the £2 super sticker. Shout out to Asphyxia. FYI, Whitney Webb, an investigative journalist, has connected many dots between major record labels and organized crime. I know. Oh, shows a YouTube video called Diddy's Collapse Was No Accident. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I did read her article, her piece called One Label Under Blackmail. And I think she has a co-author on that, but that was really enlightening and eye-opening. I mean, I need to read it all over again. It was so good. Thanks so much for the $10 super chat. And I'll have to check that video out. Thanks so much to Nana7 for the 10 oilo or /euros. I am a victim of DV and SA, and I do get it that you go back. I went back to, you're doing a great job in Love from Europe. Thank you so much, Nana. And I am so sorry to hear that has happened to you. Thank you to Barbara for the €149 super sticker. Thanks to M for the $4.99 super chat. Why has the prosecution not asked any of the witnesses if they've been contacted by anyone from the defense? That's a good question. Maybe they did, actually. Because this lady said that she was contacted by somebody, D-Rock. And he was like, why can't somebody give their little sister a gift? So maybe they are asking. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Yeah, how would you send support? Like what? Get a bonus? I did look, Nuria, I did look at Erica Kennedy. I actually have a whole video from over a year ago, I think, about Erica Kennedy and the Bling book. And they just changed the law in Florida like a month or two before I requested her autopsy report. They just conveniently changed the law. So if somebody's cause of death is determined to be a SUI, for some freaking reason, all of a sudden, the autopsy reports are not public anymore. So simple way to just keep them private is to just make sure that it's ruled a SUI. But I did look into it. TMZ special about Justin Bieber had interesting things to say about Lou Taylor. There was a D-Rock in the chat that got booted. Thank God. Get rid of them. Cindy Jones said there's many victims out there that never, ever leave their abuser. My mother was one of those people. So there you go. Let me go back to Inner City Press and see if the 10-minute break is over. Looks like they're still on break. He did say they were taking a break when, how many minutes ago was this? 16 minutes. So I'm assuming that they're going to be coming back any minute. After the legal fund is paid, I have a whole nother legal fund. I have 2 of them. Because like one time I started the one and it had Lima's name in it, and then she got this fraudulent slap restraining order against me. I mean, it got struck and now she owes me attorney's fees for so much as filing it. Because it was a slap. It was full of lies for one. But there was a time where I wasn't like, because she lied to the court, I wasn't allowed to say her freaking name on the internet, which I never, ever thought that the court actually had that jurisdiction over me to do that. But I won the lawsuit. That's one of the reasons why I'm having to still pay these legal bills. And also, I did come across something the other day that appears like Lima and Aura, well, Aura specifically, is still operating somehow with the government. I'll show y'all that later, but she claims that the business had to shut down and she's bankrupt or whatever, but looked like the business didn't shut down, girl. So I'll have to show y'all what I found with that. But yeah, we can still do the partying with the cousins one day. I think I need, oh man, I don't even want to talk about it. I think I need like $200,000 more dollars. I know the 600 million. It's like, why is everything 600 million exact 600 million? I just need to know. There's such a specific amount. And like $600 million in cash is so much money. There's only a few people that's got that much cash. Who? Okay, the jury was shown a video of Diddy's birthday party. In the video, Mia said she's blessed to call Diddy a friend and thanked him for being one of the biggest influences in her life. Okay, 6 minutes ago, Fox News, Mia, Diddy's ex-assistant. Oh, no. Diddy's ex-assistant claims she was brainwashed by the rapper. In response to a text of Diddy saying he would only remember the good times, Mia wrote, "Love you too. And the only things to remember are the good times, hysterical times. I was bamboozled by Heather because I didn't really know people could be. I didn't know how crappy people could be." Brian Steele then asked why Mia didn't tell Diddy he bamboozled her. She claimed she was brainwashed by Diddy and that she was in an environment where the highs were really high, the lows were really low. She claimed she was punished and made to feel as if she did something wrong. She continued that she felt like she betrayed Diddy by going to the mediation, that she had done something wrong. According to Mia, she was constantly seeking his approval, and he was her main authority figure. Mia told the jury Friday that there was a mediation after she left Diddy's company in 2017, and her attorney asked for like $10 million. And at that point, Mia did reveal some of the physical abuse. But she said she felt really wrong and shameful because she was breaking confidentiality. The former assistant claimed she did not reveal anything about the alleged SAs because she wanted to disalive with those secrets. She settled for about $400,000, but she personally only received about half of that. Tay Hay. Wait, I'm confused. I thought the judge ruled against showing that video. He did. He did rule against it. But a main reason that he ruled against it on Friday was not only that it was cumulative to the other evidence, but also that Diddy's team did not give proper notice to the government that this was going on, that this video was here. There's certain rules they have to abide by. They have to tell the government they're going to introduce stuff at trial. Otherwise, they're going to waive their right to do it. But now, since the thing has hold on. I get distracted. Hold on. But now the defense has given notice of this thing. They tried to introduce it Friday and they dragged it all out. So like they're still up on the stand. So that thing about like not giving the prosecution enough notice kind of like falls by the wayside. And I do think that's one of the reasons why they did drag it out so they could put this video in. Again, it is my personal opinion and belief based on public evidence. Y'all can make your own opinion and belief. But it's my personal opinion and belief Diddy has known about this video. He's had this video. His team has had this video and they orchestrated it getting released publicly so that they could just on the day before at 1 a.m. the night before they needed to use it at trial, and it magically gets to their inbox. That's my opinion and belief. Y'all can make your own opinion and belief. But they are back. Now, I am trying my very best to not show the victim's identity in any way. It's my personal choice to do so. That being said, it's now like on this thread of inner city press, and I'm doing my best. I don't want to show it, and I don't know how to hide just one tweet. So I'm trying not to show it. Okay, they're back 4 minutes ago. The assistant U.S. attorney said, until now, Diddy and them have been objecting to exhibits and turning over private correspondence of this witness. They have been turning over private text messages, private videos, private back and forth between this witness and Diddy. We have now sat through hours of gratuitously humiliating cross-examination. Mr. Steele, Brian Steele, has insinuated this witness, excuse me. Mr. Steele has insulted this witness personally, saying things like, God forbid, after things she said. One by one, Your Honor has let these exhibits in, but now cumulatively, Your Honor, we've reached harassment. Given the tone, we do not think continuing this line of questioning is appropriate. She has carried herself with grace. This is adding to her trauma, and there are eyes on this trial. Other victims in other trials are going to become aware of this. The judge said, well, I haven't seen any yelling. My understanding is that his God forbid is an apology, not an attempt to intimidate her. But he is asking some pretty argumentative questions. So, Mr. Steele, where is he? Where is he? Hey, Steele, you are repeating yourself. You realize that, right? It is getting a little bit redundant. So the judge still is taking an even keel, middle of the road approach. He's not fully siding with the government, but he is saying, at some point, you are asking the same questions over and over. The judge then says, Mr. Steele, if I feel you're asking questions just to ask them, like in a harassing way, I'm going to tell you to move on. Do you understand? He says, oh, yes, Your Honor, I understand. Yes. He said, I don't see any improper treatment here. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The judge said, I don't see any improper treatment here, Miss Comey. I don't see harassment at this point, but I'll continue to keep my eye on it. All right. So now Brian Steele is referring to 25 photographs, 1 to 25. The judge said, can I see them? These people will do anything. It's like, I don't trust Brian Steele. Sorry. I just don't. I don't trust them. The judge is like, okay, can I see these 25 freaking pictures that you're trying to get them to talk about? The assistant U.S. attorney said, we don't even have the numbered versions of these. When you introduce something in evidence, you're like, look at number 1979 -R -da-da-da-da-da. Like they have these numbers. The assistant U.S. attorney is like, we just have a stack of pictures. What the is this? This is not how you do evidence. And remember, y'all, there is a judge's order that Brian Steele and the defense and all of them on Diddy's team, and so do the prosecutors, everybody on both sides, has to do things in a certain order. They have to provide evidence they're going to present at trial by the night before. So now, conveniently, Brian Steele only just got these 25 new pictures this freaking morning. Okay. All right. The judge is like, can I see the pictures? The assistant U.S. attorney is like, I can't give them to you because I don't have numbered versions of them. I don't even know what these are. The judge says, do you have the photos? Do you have the pictures at all? The assistant U.S. attorney said, yeah, but we have no idea which one he's talking about. We just have a stack of pictures. The judge said, Brian, why didn't you follow the judge's order and give them stamped copies of these? Brian Steele says, oh, sorry, I only got them this morning. I'm so freaking sure. I don't believe him. Just like whenever he said the video that was 30 seconds long was allegedly 8 seconds long. And he's shown himself willing to lie. Okay, hold on. Let me block an AstroTurf account. The defense is just as snaky as Diddy. Somebody said. A lot of last minute stuff going on. Y'all had all weekend. Cut this stuff out. The defense is unprepared again. If they can't be professional and use proper protocol, the judge needs to start throwing things out. I'm sick of it. Exactly. This guy is notorious for just got them. I mean, he does represent people accused of being criminal gang leaders. Okay. So it is the type of thing I guess you got to do when you representing these, people. I don't know. I wasn't there. The defense is showing a pattern of surprise attack. It's all they have. Unfortunately, it opens up the possibility of misconduct. Same thing again. They just got him this morning. Yeah, freaking right. I don't believe it. I don't. I do not. I think Diddy had this crap for years. Been having it. Okay. So the judge is like, just show me them one by one. Let me see. Okay. Next. Let me see. Next. Next. Brian, the judge looks over to Mr. Steele. What's the relevance of all this? Oh, Your Honor, it's to impeach her credibility because she said she didn't have any time for herself to tell others. But here's all these images with Mia and her friends and her family over the years. So apparently she did have time to herself. This is nauseating, and it definitely makes it feel like people are not going to come forward against anybody because this feels like playing dirty. I do think you should have the right to a defense, but like nobody, the government isn't doing this to Diddy. Surprise attacking. Oh, just got this last night, Your Honor. Her. This is the second time they've done this. And this time it's with 25 pictures. We are entering a brief break after watching a video Mia had made for Diddy on his 44th birthday. Mia, who is testifying under a pseudonym, has kept her head down throughout the trial, her bangs hanging over her face. By contrast, the video clearly displayed Mia's face to members of the media who are following along in a secure room. Halfway through the morning, this is Wesley Parnell, Washington Post, defense attorney Brian Steele has accused Mia of lying twice. She responded that she would never lie in court. As our colleague Shayna Jacobs pointed out last week, survivors of abuse often mask, block out, or operate in erratic ways as a result of abuse and abusive relationships. Okay, the court, Mia's face was shown to members of the media following along in a secure room for 8 seconds in error via an internal courthouse feed. This is despite a judge's order that her face not be shown nor drawn by courtroom sketch artists. The prosecution did not lodge an immediate objection. And I think the media is doing this so that they can start showing her face. I think they're like, look, the prosecution didn't object, so we should get to show the video. We should get to show her face because they know people want to see her face, but no media outlets wants to be the ones to show her face. Personally, I'm not a media outlet. I'm a girl with a YouTube channel that's just telling y'all my opinion, but I just personally, ethically, I don't want to show her face. I just don't. I mean, a judge in a federal court has determined not to, so I'm going to follow those rules. If other people want to do that, they can. I'm just not going to be doing that. Also, other people can do stuff all day long, but I get held to a certain standard that other people aren't held to. I really don't know why. Anybody can say anything all day long and show anything on their channel all day long, but I'm not allowed to do such things. So, but I also think it's just the right thing. Even if I was allowed to, I wouldn't do that. I don't feel right about it. Diddy's defense questions why the ex-assistant waited to speak about alleged assaults. According to the ex-assistant, Diddy assaulted her multiple times throughout her employment. And you notice that he's not questioning her about the other violence, about the outbursts and things. It's all just to attack her on the sexual abuse allegations, which I think is particularly disgusting and egregious. And I think Brian Steele is probably going to hell over it. I mean, if you had to ask if I'm the Lord, if I'm up there at the pearly gates, Brian Steele is not getting in, okay? And I think it's just because of how he's acting here. That's just my opinion, but they didn't put me in charge at the pearly gates. Mia testified today that Diddy threatened to tell Cassie everything, which made Mia feel as though she had done something wrong. She said she doesn't really know how to explain it, but it is still the truth. Diddy's defense attorney, Brian Steele, asked why Mia didn't tell Diddy he should tell everybody. But then there was an objection from the prosecution and that was sustained, meaning the jury is just going to disregard that answer and the question. Then Brian Steele asked why Mia didn't speak up in 2017 when she stopped working for Diddy. She said she was terrified and brainwashed. Diddy's attorney questioned when this moral obligation came to her mind. And she said, well, it was when I started seeing him being held accountable for his actions. That's when she was told what he was doing was wrong, or that's when she started to realize it. Mia noted she is still untangling these things herself in therapy. Judge warns, this is less than a minute ago, CNN.com. The judge warned Diddy's attorney about his line of questioning. The prosecutor accused defense attorney Brian Steele of harassing and humiliating Mia on the stand with yelling, sarcastic, and argumentative questioning. The prosecutor also said the dozens of social media posts that Steele has compelled Mia to discuss are cumulative and they have nothing to do with her credibility. The judge said he hasn't really heard Steele yell or be sarcastic, but he did agree that Steele has asked improper, argumentative questions. The judge also said he has sustained objections to many of the improper questions and warned Steele to be mindful not to continue asking argumentative questions that might make it seem like he's doing it purposely, or just for the jury to hear, knowing the question's going to be struck anyway, and he'll ask stuff. He'll be like, and that's because you're a lying ass hoe, isn't it? And it's like, you're not going to be able to sustain, Your Honor. Now, I am being dramatic because Brian Steele notoriously refuses to curse. Like, even if he's reading an exhibit with a curse word, he won't say it. So I am being sarcastic. It's not an actual quote. I was just trying to give y'all an example of, like, there's certain things that lawyers ask where it's like, you freaking know that's going to be objection. That's going to be sustained. But you just ask it anyway, just to get your point across. That's not proper. You're not allowed to keep doing that. You're not allowed to keep doing that. If you do that, you can get admonished. You can get in trouble with the judge. Let's go to Inner City Press. Let me just refresh. Shout out to the mods in the chat. I did link their links below if y'all want to donate to the mods coffee fund, buy them a coffee or something. I personally know that I did. I'm still waiting for a couple other links for some of the other mods, but some are already linked down there. Okay, next question. Okay, so the most recent tweet we read from Inner City Press is the judge is looking at all 25 of these brand new pictures that Brian Steele claims he just didn't even see till last night. This morning, excuse me. These images, so they know better than saying they got something last night. Why? Because if they got it last night and they didn't share it with the prosecution, then the judge is going to keep it out. So now it's like, oh, we just got it today. We just got it this morning, just now. Now we got 25 new things we got to put in just now, right now. Okay, right, right. So the judge is like, what's the relevance of all this crap? Brian Steele said, oh, it's to impeach her credibility. Basically, it's to make her look like a liar. Make her look like a liar. That is the point of this. And the reason is she said she had no time to herself to tell other people. But these images show that Mia is with her friends and her family over the years. The judge said, why would a baby shower have any relevance? Why can't you just ask questions about these? Why can't you just ask questions about a baby shower? Why do you have to show these pictures you didn't even properly admit into evidence, Brian? Brian Steele said, oh, it's because I like to do the impeachment that way. This is my method. This is how I like it. The judge said, okay, well, that's cute. No, excluded. Next. He said, absent some more arguments, some more evidence, what you told me so far right now, excluded. You got an order to follow, buddy. Start following. Can you just please admit them for the record, Your Honor? No. You have an order to follow, which you have not followed. This is cumulative evidence. It's irrelevant. It's the first rule of evidence is it has to be relevant. You, Mr. Thousands of dollars an hour, have done nothing to show that this is relevant. So no, you're not getting the shit on the record, buddy. Move it along. Your Honor, we want them in if there's an appeal. Of course, they're already setting up for an appeal. But all sides, the attorneys on this prosecution side, Diddy's attorneys for sure, and the judge, no matter who wins and who loses this case, is getting appealed. If Diddy wins, the prosecutors are going to appeal. If Diddy loses, Diddy's going to appeal. So no matter what, they're trying to preserve a record for appeal. Brian Steele is saying, Your Honor, we're going to go tell your bosses you didn't let these in, and we want these in. And the judge already said no. The assistant U.S. attorney said, they go in the case file, stupid. That's how we handle this. Stupid. Maybe you're not used to working in New York. That's how we handle it over here. You put it in the case file. You don't just get to put any and everything on the record. Stupid. I mean, I'm not calling him that, right? I'm just acting out the part. Okay, fine. Brian Steele's not taking that for an answer. He's being belligerent. Instead of following the rules he was supposed to follow and submit this stuff before 10 o'clock last night, he didn't follow the rules he was supposed to follow. And now he's saying, I want to keep him in the record. The judge is saying no. The prosecutors are saying no. And here he is still not taking it as an answer. He said, Your Honor, I asked the witness, do you still have friends? And she said, I didn't see them. I did not have external sounding board. She said she had no time. And these pictures show she clearly had time to go to a baby shower. So I want to put these 25 pictures in. He's still arguing for it. And I really do think the reason for this is to harass and intimidate. I do actually agree with Maureen Comey. And, you know, I don't agree with her every time. I don't agree with her every time. I don't even really think she should be in this position. But I agree with her. Hold on. There's a few more tweets. Let me get to them. I'm hiding this because I'm trying to not show y'all that video. It is on Intercity Press's tweets. Y'all can go over there if you're dying to see it. I'm not showing it here. Okay. So he said, basically, Mia's a liar. That's what Brian Steele is trying to say. She said she didn't see her friends. She said she didn't have an external sounding board. She said there was no time. And this flies directly in the face of that. The judge says the problem is putting them in the post. They're not relevant. They are cumulative. You already spent a lot of time on that scrapbook. So no, Brian. The answer is still no. Bring Mia back in. All rise. The court is now back in session. Jury comes back in. Next question. Brian asks Mia, you and Cassie were best friends. Is that fair to say? She said, yeah, that's fair to say. We're best friends. And you said she was like your sister. Yeah, I did. You loved Cassie? Absolutely loved her, Mia said. And do you feel the same way today? Yeah, I love her like a sister today. You would never lie to Cassie, Mia, would you? No. Oh. You would never lie to Cassie, Mia, would you? She said, actually, Diddy did not allow me to tell her certain things, like where I was or stuff that he said. And remember, you know, he was my boss, so I had to actually listen to him. So it actually created a little bit of a situation because, yeah, I kind of would have to lie sometimes to Cassie. It was pretty crappy situation now that you mention it, Brian. We got a new update from CNN. Diddy's former assistant is back on the stand as court resumes. Okay, let's go to Washington Post. Nothing there. Let's go to NBC. We have a new update here. Okay. I think they're getting... Yeah, okay. So we get a little bit more details from this scolding that Brian Steele, who apparently just got 25 pictures this morning, and he didn't have even so much as time to number them for the defense. And he's kind of threatening the judge, like, I want it in for the appeal. Like, shut up. And y'all, like, I make this like angry voice and stuff when I'm talking, like, and when I'm being Brian, that's just kind of for like affect of the story. From what I understand, Brian Steele himself is like actually very calm and has a measured demeanor in court. But I'm just kind of like, I play these parts out so that you can tell who's talking and stuff. But it's not like an accurate impersonation. It's not like an accurate impersonation or impression of Brian Steele. I'm just doing it because, like, I find his line of questioning to be asinine and worthy of going to hell, but that's just my opinion. So we get some more details about that here. The scolding. Adam Rice, Yang Feng, and Doha Madani from NBCnews.com. Defense scolded by prosecution for tone of questioning. Maureen Comey alerted the judge that she felt Diddy's defense was mistreating Mia, accusing Brian Steele of humiliating Mia on the witness stand. Comey laid out concerns that Steele's sarcasm and suggestions that Mia is lying are bordering on harassment, and Steele is adding to Mia's trauma. He's like traumatizing her on the stand. The judge did not agree that Steele was mistreating Mia, but he did agree that the questions had been argumentative and cumulative and just been adding up, same stuff over and over. Didn't you say, sometimes you love Diddy? Yeah. Look at this one. Didn't you say you love Diddy right here? Yeah. Look at this one. Didn't you say you love Diddy 2 years earlier? Yeah. Didn't you say you love Diddy a year before that? It's like just over and over. That's called cumulative. Like, you've already proved your point one time and you just keep piling it on. So it's not going to go all the way up to harassment, the judge says at this point. But it is a little cumulative. It's getting a little bit excessive. And he is being argumentative, the judge said. He said that the prosecutor's concerns, the judge said he heard the prosecutor's concerns and he would be on the lookout for any offensive conduct. He added that the government would alert the court if it also found any. So keep objecting, and I will say sustained if I believe, if I agree with y'all. The judge then warned Brian Steele he can ask a question and move on. But if he believes that Steele is asking something just to get it out there, the judge is going to step in. And what that means, your guess is good as mine. So let's see. Refreshing here. Okay. Y'all, they are really pulling out all the stops. Seriously, like Brittany D said a baby shower? What is this even proving anyway? Who's going to a baby shower like, hey, my boss harasses me, by the way, good job having a baby? Like, that's, please. Don Diosa said, wait, cumulative. How is cumulative not harassment? If it's cumulative, it is harassment. I do see that argument. That being said, like, there's a certain, like, cumulative questions are also not allowed, but harassment is like worse. Does that make sense? Like, you're not allowed to do cumulative questions. That's a reason for the judge to keep stuff out. It's actually the reason he kept out that birthday video the first day on Friday. Even if Diddy got pardoned, not all can be. There it is, hey boo. A good lawyer also knows when to stop. Get your point out there and move it along. He's literally putting the jury to sleep at this point. As you can see, the witness was wearing a sweater. Isn't that you also wearing a sweater? 1 week later, another sweater was worn. Didn't you wear a sweater in 2018? Yeah, it's kind of feeling like that. What was the deal with the number 6 and 7? I listened to Luther. K. Luther. He even mentions in the song. I don't know what 6 and 7. Boy Mama, $4.99. I know they like their numbers, but I really don't know. You would have to ask the people that's still allowed to be in the cult. I think my family broke off from their getting invites to their cult stuff several generations ago or something on it. I don't get invited. But if they let me down into the basement of the Vatican at any point, I'm going to let the cousins know what they was doing down there. Okay. It is like literally so hot in here. Is like the freaking heater on? Oh, okay. Gotta go internship. Love you. Keep rocking the rainbow. Thank you so much, Birmingham Leprechaun. Working a new internship. Shout out to you. I'm late. Should I jump right in or go back to the beginning? You could probably just jump right in, Ashley. It's the same stuff been going on since Friday. It's just Brian Steele going overboard, in my opinion. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Kel on Earth. Kushan Delay Cousin Party Fund. Thanks so much for the $2. Cousins. Thank you, Lady Red, becoming a member. Shout out to you, Rosa, for the $4.99. Sorry, unrelated, but are you still looking into the Dakali twins? Any updates? Such a bizarre story. I don't remember the last update I did. It is a very bizarre story. I mean, there's not that much more I can really do unless something else happens. I've alerted the police, I've alerted the FBI, I've alerted everyone I can alert. And if they're not going to do nothing, there's not much more I can do. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, T Boomer, for the $1.99 super chat. This judge has no control over his courtroom. It does feel like that, doesn't it? Thank you, Guava Berry Moon, for the $4.99 super chat. I am so tired of the defense at this point. If the pigs can impeach, why did they keep her on the stand this long just to try to impeach? There it is, period. I think they're just abusing her. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. I haven't been in the courtroom, so I really don't know. Thank you, Jen, for the $9.99 super sticker. Oh, absolutely. They're going to appeal, Mr. Lord said. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Yeah, V Lockett. Thank you for the, are you from Louisiana? I know a lot of Locketts. I went to school with a bunch of Locketts. Maybe we cousins. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Have you heard Diddy may be pardoned? I did. I've been reading that. I've been looking into that. Thank you for the $1.99. What's the deal with the 6s and 7? I don't know. I think Jay-Z likes 4 though. Thank you to Donna Burke for the $19.99 super sticker. If y'all are wondering why I'm reading this right now, Cardi K says Steele is typically an appeal lawyer. He is going to do what he has to do to get an appeal. They all want a mistrial. They all want to appeal. They all want a mistrial when they representing a demon, it seems. And look, listen, some people will do anything for the bag. Some people do anything for the bag. Okay, look. So the next question we have 6 minutes ago was Miss Ventura, was Cassie in love with Diddy? Mia said, I thought so. Did you ever tell Cassie the person she loved R-worded you? Mia said, no. Do you remember telling her that Diddy's brain needed to be rewired? Judge, Your Honor, can we have a sidebar? The prosecution said. The judge said, you may. Well, if they need to rewire the brain, he ought to hit up AURA, Autonomous User Rehabilitation. Autonomous User Rehabilitation. What was the last R for? I don't remember. The A. AURA. Assistant? I don't even freaking remember the name of that. Must not have been too good of a name. If he needs it rewired, maybe he could hit up Lima Yurimovich, Bam Margera's former conservator. Okay, or AKA Guardian, same thing. Okay, so a minute ago they get back. Why would you cover up for Mr. Combs to Cassie? Why? Writing that Diddy is just misunderstood. Objection, Your Honor. Improper. Leading. Whatever. The judge said true. Sustained. Rephrase the question, Brian. Fine. Okay. New question. Did you tell Cassie she needs to stay with Diddy? Mia said, I don't remember that. Could have, but I don't remember that. Yeah, maybe he should go under a conservatorship with Lima. Maybe that'll help him. I don't know. Just saying. Okay, that's the most recent there. Let's check out the other sources. CNN here. We already read that. Let's check out Washington Post. Hold on a second. I got to send a text. Okay. Nope, 30 minutes ago. Let's try NBC. I mean, I'm sure that the updates are getting kind of paused because they've had like 2 sidebars since the break got back in like 20 minutes ago. Like, yeah, court paused as the judge warned about defense's line of questioning. Court briefly paused this morning as the judge told Diddy's attorney, Brian Steele, that he had asked improper argumentative questions. The remark came after prosecutors accused Steele of yelling at Mia and posing argumentative questions. The judge said he didn't hear any yelling or sarcasm, but he did warn Brian Steele not to ask questions that he knows are going to get struck from the record just so the jury can hear the question. That does kind of, to me, feel a little bit like abuse and harassment. But the judge is like, we're not doing that thing where you just asking a crazy question that you know is going to get overturned and stricken just so the jury can hear, because that's improper. The court then resumed, but then they already went on a sidebar again. Checking out Inner City Press. Trying to be careful with that, what's it called? That preview of that video. That's why I keep bringing it down. Okay, the most recent tweet still is this one from 5. Lila said, "This is so weak of Steele for doing this." They're asking her, Guava Berry Moon said they're asking her about her communications like Diddy wasn't running around snatching his employees' phones and reviewing the contents. True. I did think about that earlier. Thank you to Isabella for the €199 super sticker. Thank you to Brittany, named Twin, holding it, well, almost twin. Mine's spelled with the TTANY, but it's said the same. Holding it down for the Oklahoma cousins and the name twins. Yep. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5. Thank you, Tracy, for the $10 super chat. What do we know about Diddy's adopted child? Which one? The Quincy or Ava Baroni Combs? I don't know if that child was actually ever adopted. I think that might have been a joke, but I don't know. I don't know much about her. Thank you for the $10. Shout out to the Blanchards. That's my cousins too. $4.99 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If Diddy threatened to tell it all, isn't that showing that something did in fact happen? Well, that's the point. And that is why the question itself got sustained, because the way Diddy framed it in the text is, I'm going to tell it all, like making Mia feel like she had done something wrong. But if he truly did tell it all, what he would tell is that it was not a consensual act. And so Diddy saying, I'm going to tell it all, was confusing to, and this is what she's saying. I'm just telling y'all what she has testified. Mia's saying, I didn't want him to tell Cassie that I had hooked up with him because the man is a professional liar. And I figured he would blame me somehow for it. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to deal with it. She even said, like, she's like, I'm not one of them ones that sued him. I wasn't never going to say this. I wasn't never going to testify to this. I'm up here now because the government has a criminal case going on against him. But this isn't something I ever wanted to talk about. And one of the reasons is because I know Diddy lies. I didn't want to sit up here and have to be called a liar. So I didn't want to deal with all of that. I wanted to just try and remember the good times and move it along. Thanks so much for the $4.99 super chat. I mean, that's at least my understanding of what happened, of why Diddy wrote that in a message. Okay, we have another update from Inner City Press. Yep, boom. Okay, who just put that comment? I just read it. Did you tell Cassie she needs to stay with Diddy? Mia said, I don't remember that. Okay. And Mia said, Diddy could find out what I was telling Cassie. Brian Steele acting perplexed, acting like he's never heard of such a concept. How could Diddy find that out, Mia? She said, he stole my phone before and Cassie's phone many times. He's also put tracking devices on Cassie's car. But you were alone with Cassie, weren't you? Mia said, yeah. And you sued Diddy for $10 million. She said, yeah, but I didn't talk about this sexual assault in there. That's what she said last time, but he's bringing it back up again. The suing for $10 million. Now, again, she didn't get $10 million. She didn't even get a half of one. She got $200,000. And that wasn't for like really for pain and suffering. That was because she had like not been paid overtime and stuff like that. And so, okay, they came back. Okay, that's the most recent. Let's go to CNN. They fell asleep over there? Okay, we got another one. Okay, less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Diddy's former assistant says he put tracking devices on Cassie's car. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia how Diddy would have found out about private messages between her and Cassie. Quote, he had stolen my phone many times. He's stolen Cassie's phone many times. He put tracking devices on Cassie's car. I'm not sure what he's capable of. I was terrified. We have another update from NBC. 4 minutes ago, Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and David K. Lee, Mia admits she didn't tell everything to Cassie. She said she was very close to Cassie, but admitted not telling Cassie everything she could have. She conceded she didn't tell Cassie about Diddy's alleged sexual assault on her. She also said she would keep the music mogul's whereabouts from Cassie under his orders. So, she said, yeah, Diddy told me not to tell Cassie where he was, and I would listen to him. I remember covering for him and feeling terrible about it. We got a new update from Washington Post 6 minutes ago. My God. Can y'all believe me and this lady are the same age? She's like a year older than me. Federal prosecutor Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI Director James B. Comey, came back from the break with a scathing rebuke. She said, I rebuke of Diddy's legal strategy. She objected to Brian Steele's line of questioning, accusing the defense attorney of being argumentative, sarcastic, and suggesting to this jury that he believes Mia is lying. We are crossing the threshold into prejudice and into harassing this witness, Maureen Comey said. She asked that the lengthy cross-examination be brought to a close. She's like, can you just end this at this point, Your Honor? Can we just be done with this? They've been here for doing the same things for all day. The judge disagreed with Comey, but agreed with her in part. This lawyer, Brian Steele, on multiple occasions asked questions or posed statements that were not within the strict and narrow confines required by the court. Should Steele continue with this tactic, the judge said he's going to start blocking certain questions. I didn't take that to be an effort in any way to intimidate or harass the witness. But here's the issue. There are lines of questioning. If you had asked one question and moved on, that would be one thing. But you are often repeating the same thing multiple times. I agree with Ms. Comey where the tone is improper. We have another update from CNN. Mia says she never told Cassie to leave Diddy in the way I wish I could have. The former assistant to Diddy said she was very close with Cassie throughout her employment, but she was not allowed to tell her the truth about a lot of things. Whatever story Diddy told me, I had to uphold that lie. One of the worst parts was being put in the middle and having to cover up for Diddy to Cassie, which he forced me to do constantly. Then the defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia if she ever told Cassie she should leave Diddy. She said, no, I never told her in the way I wish I could have. Because he was stealing our phones and reading our stuff. Didn't you hear the way he found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi and almost unalived someone just a few days ago in the testimony? Don't you remember? Was looking through Cassie's emails during a freak off. So no, I did not put that in writing that she should leave him. I knew he could steal her phone and look at any time that anything that anybody saw, anybody sent her, he could see. She did say, I remember covering for him when he forced her to and feeling terrible about it. But if I didn't, he would have taken me away from her. Okay. Most recent tweet was, you sued Mr. Combs for $10 million. She said it was a mediation. So no, I didn't sue him. It's called mediation. You should know this, Brian. Anyway, yeah, my lawyers ended up getting $200,000 of the dollars. So I only got $200,000. Okay, please look at the screen. Is that you on your social media account? She said, excuse me, is that your social media account? She said, it looks like a text message. Sounds like me. Yeah, it's your text message to Diddy, Brian Steele said. So please look at the screen. Is that your social media account? She said, looks like a text message. Sounds like something I would say though. So she's like, I'm not really exactly sure if that is my social media account or if it's just a text message. Okay. I just had to do some AstroTurf management. Not to mention Cassie had a habit of telling Diddy. Yeah, soaring energy. That's the thing too. Cassie would often like fess up about stuff that people told. Like she would tell Diddy stuff. Soaring energy said, not to mention Cassie had the habit of telling Diddy anything somebody told her about urging them to break up. She did that with Roger Bonds. He said that. MTC production said government has to come back on redirect and make their point clear. And I think they will. Okay, so let's see if there's update here. It looks like a text message. She said, sounds like me. It's your text to Mr. Combs. She said, I don't remember sending this. Okay, it's you in a tutu. Mr. Combs appears to be holding his private parts. In Cassie's lawsuit, she alleged sexual abuse. Yeah. So why did you still communicate with Mr. Combs? Objection, Your Honor. My God, how many freaking times? How many times is Brian Steele going to sit here? This witness, it was supposed to be done Friday. It's 11:45 a.m. today. He has done nothing but ask the same 3 questions over and over today. You're saying that he argued, but you love him? Why did you keep talking to him? How could you keep talking to him? It's the same freaking question he's been asking for 8 hours. I think she's done a good job of finally answering it. If the jury can take the answer or leave it. The judge agrees. Sustained. Next question, Brian. Okay. We have another update from CNN.com. Diddy's ex-assistant, this 3 minutes ago. Diddy's ex-assistant says she didn't mention SA allegations during mediation over her severance. Mia testified she never mentioned any SA allegations against Diddy in the 2017 mediation. Brian Steele asked her if she was aware of the Me Too movement at the time, and she testified she was not, and she probably was. I mean, how can you not be? Oh, in 2017, that is the year it started, right? So maybe she wasn't. I thought this was the 2020 thing. Looks like NBC has another update. 5 minutes ago, Diddy put a tracking device on Cassie's car. Mia told the court she felt terrible about covering for Diddy with Cassie, but felt that if she didn't, he would have taken away her access to Cassie. He would have taken away access between Cassie and Mia. Mia testified that Diddy would find out because he did steal their phones. And this is not the first person has testified about getting their phone stolen. Remember Capricorn or whoever else it was laying out on the thing. And yeah, this is the one. Poured the ice bucket on her to shock her and then took her phone away or whatever. She said she wasn't sure what Diddy was capable of. And she reiterated that she was terrified that he stole their phones on many occasions. So she couldn't fully be honest and forthcoming in her messages with anybody. When pressed, this is a minute ago, Anne Brannigan, Washington Post, when pressed to explain why she never told Cassie to leave Diddy, Mia said she was scared of Diddy and that had she stepped out of line, Diddy would have taken Mia away from Cassie, and they were very close friends. Quote, he has stolen my phone many times, Mia said when defense attorney Brian Steele asked why she felt she couldn't tell Cassie negative things about Diddy, even in private. He's stolen Cassie's phone many times. He's put tracking devices on Cassie's car. Okay, the most recent thing was this right here where it was like, Brian Steele asked, why did you still communicate with Mr. Combs? I mean, this is like the 100th time he's asked this question. I mean, he just keeps asking it over and over. How could you do that? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me how this man who brutalized you, you could keep on talking to him. And he just keeps, I mean, I'm not even saying he shouldn't be allowed to ask the question once or maybe a couple times, but it's like the same thing he's been asking since Friday over and over with more surprise, ambush, cumulative evidence. I think the judge is about to cut the defense short. the cross-examination short, unless Brian Steele knows what's good for him and just ends it himself. Now, as far as how this is reading to the jury, I have no idea. Is the jury buying this? Are they liking it? Do they like Brian Steele? Do they like the line of questioning? Do they feel bad for the witness? I don't know. It might be going over well with the jury, but I don't like the line of questioning. Doesn't seem like the judge likes it. Doesn't seem like the prosecution likes it. Mia claims she was told to lie to Cassie. This is the Mirror UK. Diddy's former assistant has claimed she was not allowed to tell Cassie of Diddy's whereabouts nor his actions. Defense criticized for questioning tone, the tone of their questioning. Go away. Let's go to New York Post. Golly, all these freaking ads. Hold on. Diddy put tracking device on Cassie's car. He's stolen my phone many times, stolen Cassie's many times, put tracking devices on her car. I'm not sure what he's capable of. I was terrified. Okay, that's still the most recent is the, why would you still communicate with Diddy? And the prosecution said, objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered many freaking times. Two minutes ago, FoxNews.com, judge rules against adding additional photos of Diddy's ex-assistant into evidence. Diddy's defense said they were alerted to additional pictures just this morning. Yeah, right. And they wanted to use them for impeachment evidence. But according to the defense, the images of Mia spending time with family and friends, they're relevant because they show that she did have time away from Diddy. The judge ruled the photos are not admissible. The defense then asked to have them moved into evidence just to preserve the record, and the judge said, no. According to the judge, the social media posts and images have no relevance, and he said the images are not going to be shown. But Diddy's attorney can still ask questions about the pictures without admitting the pictures. Mia previously testified to the long hours she allegedly endured while working for Diddy. She told the jury that she didn't sleep for 24 hours on her first day of work. The ex-assistant also claimed she was forced to work 5 straight days with no sleep. Feels like lifetimes ago she testified that. Mia, 1 minute ago, NBC News, Mia testifies she, quote, wanted to disalive with the secret of her abuse. She spoke to Cassie after Cassie filed her lawsuit detailing abuse against Diddy. But Mia said she didn't tell Cassie about her own experiences of abuse from Diddy. Even during that conversation, she said, I was still deeply ashamed. She said, I wanted to die with this secret. I didn't want to tell anyone, Brian. I don't know how many more ways I can possibly tell you this. I didn't tell anyone. Yeah, I didn't tell anyone on purpose. I didn't want them to know. I wanted to keep the secret to myself for the rest of my freaking life. Okay, we got another question. Did you meet these prosecutors January 2024? This would have been last year. This was months before the raids, okay? She said, I may have. I don't exactly remember. I don't have the calendar on me right now. Maybe. Did you tell them Diddy S assaulted you? She said, I don't remember when I told him. I told him eventually. Brian says, did you eventually get a lawyer? Mia said, yep, sure did. Sure did get a lawyer. Okay, that's the most recent. Yeah, Cole said, yeah, she said it when she realized she actually had a shot of being believed. Because y'all remember, it wasn't long ago, like about a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, you couldn't even make an allegation against almost any famous person. Like, yeah, there was Me Too. And yeah, like I do think there were some degree of like false allegations coming out against people, but like how many of those lawsuits that were just outright dismissed as frivolous? People were alleging that Diddy was following them, surveilling them, stealing their intellectual property. Diddy was harassing them, assaulting them at parties with rugs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And until these raids happened on his house, pretty much all of those people weren't believed. Pretty much all of them weren't believed. Most of these cases that I was aware of got dismissed out of court before Diddy even had to defend himself. The judges were just like, "I don't know. Seems crazy to me. No, dismissed. No." So it's like, if I thought it was going to be an uphill battle to be believed, I wouldn't say anything either. For what? For what? Just to get some money? Just to get what? Okay, yeah, maybe make it easier for other people to come forward, maybe. But like, does it really? Does this seem easy? Does this seem easy? Doesn't seem easy. No, it does not to me. It seems excruciating, painful. And actually, now that I'm watching how she's being treated up here on this stand, I know exactly why she didn't say anything until now. No one believes her on his side. Brian Steele, supposedly such a nice lawyer, is even going down this crazy line of questioning. So I totally see why she didn't say anything. For what? What justice was she going to get? We have like hundreds of allegations now against Diddy, and these lawyers are still acting like it's just impossible and this girl's a freaking liar. It doesn't come as a surprise to me why she didn't say anything sooner. Okay, Diddy's lawyer, Steele, he says the following. So the lawyer who had 45 days earlier obtained an enormous judgment. Okay, so this is, I think she's represented by Wigdor or Tyrone or like somebody like that. Objection, Your Honor. What do we're going to call in an enormous judgment from someone? No. What? The judge is like, yeah, exactly. What the hell? Sustained. What are you doing, Brian? Next question. Why did you hire her, the lawyer? Oh, it must be, who is it? Her, a lawyer, her. Is it, who is Mia's lawyer? I don't know who it is. Is it Gloria Allred? Is it Lisa Bloom? Why did you hire the lawyer you hired? Objection, Your Honor. He's still trying to ask about a settlement or a judgment. Can we move on? True, the judge says, let's move on. Okay, next question. So you only first alleged that you were assaulted in June 2024, and this makes sense to me. This actually makes her more believable because it shows that it was already after Diddy was under investigation for HT. So maybe someone might believe her, which it doesn't look like the Diddy side does, right? So if someone's not going to believe you to come forward, it makes it more trouble than it's worth to come forward. So you don't come forward. So now she's like, yeah, March 2024, Diddy gets raided. And then 3 months later, yeah, I finally do feel like I should come forward with these allegations. But she says, I don't exactly remember the timings of this stuff. So you're asking me about dates and coming forward with allegations, but I don't know. She's like, the rest, as far as like why I picked my lawyer and stuff, that's privileged. That's confidential information between me and my lawyer, and I'm not going to answer it. The judge is like, objection, Your Honor. Excuse me, not the judge. The prosecutor is like, objection, Your Honor. The judge said, sustained. Bring it in. We need to have a come to Jesus meeting. We're doing a sidebar again. Because I'm not sure where Brian is even going with these questions. She would be cracked by now if she was lying. Exactly. She offered to come and face Diddy. She's winning already, somebody said. I mean, it's just really like, if alleged victims can be held up on the stand this long, subjected to these same badgering questions over and over, I think it does discourage people from coming forward. Come to Jesus meeting is so for real. Let me see. I got silenced when I tried. Sarah said to out my childhood abuser, and it was my grandfather, and it was because he was affiliated with powerful people, and I was and still am occasionally stalked for even so much as speaking out to the police in the first place. Why does Brian Steele look so much like Epstein? They might be cousins, girl. I mean, seems like you don't see anything wrong with what is Diddy's doing. I think I live in the same state, which means we probably cousins. We might be cousins, Moni. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Kel on Earth, thank you for the $5 super chat. Is he trying to make the judge force him to move on so that he can use that as an appeal? Could be. Could be. I think they want mistrial because they can't win on the facts. I mean, it's starting to look like that to me. Sidebar. Come get your sidebars. Everybody, 2 for 1. Sidebar. Sidebar. Exactly. Diddy's lawyers are getting so annoying. Yeah, what are these sidebars all about? The judge is probably just like, where are you going with this, Brian? Like, can we get to the next line of questioning? Because you've been on the same one for 2 days. Okay, we got 2 updates from CNN. Diddy's ex-assistant sent him a birthday text days before Cassie's lawsuit was made public. Because remember, his birthday's in November, and then Cassie sued him in November. Wait, Nuria. She said, as we say in Spanish, and then provides the English translation, thankfully. Mr. Steele is stirring the poo-poo over again in case something new comes out. Ew. It's the same poo-poo as before created by your client. Exactly. It's the same one as before. Okay, the prosecution can't appeal a jury verdict? That's true. They can refile if it's a hung jury. Okay, thank you for that update. Maybe there's a mini bar at that sidebar. Maybe they taking shots over there, girl. I don't know. Thank you, Melanie, for the $6.99 super chat. This prosecution better pay for me as therapy. Well, it would be us paying for it. It would be the people paying for it. But I mean, it's pretty crazy what she's being subjected to. I will at least say with the prosecution, at least they are trying to get her off the stand. They wanted her off the stand Friday. Vortex Core said abusers are experts at still abusing, even when the abuse is over and in court. Attorneys who continue the campaign are abusers themselves, Vortex Core says. Steal with the poo. It's the poopy gate. Nicole said she also is still being harassed by the government for finally talking about how she was SA and harassed in the Army. You are threatened, intimidated, and made to feel like you were the problem, why it happened to you, and you are crazy. Wow. Yeah, we are paying for his food and other things to those private prisons. Actually, I don't know if MDC is a private prison. Okay, so 4 minutes ago, let's read this update. Thank you to Dev Dab for the 1999 super chat. Love from Atlanta. Shout out to the Atlanta, Georgia cousins. Thank you. Okay. Diddy's ex-assistant, this is CNN.com 4 minutes ago, she sent him a happy birthday just a few days before the Cassie lawsuit was filed and made public. The jury saw a message Mia sent Diddy for his birthday all the way back as recently as 2023. The message included a photo of the two of them, which Mia posted for Diddy's birthday in 2014. So it was a 2014 photo. So she sends him a 10-year-old photo. She testified she didn't remember sending him the happy birthday text. She testified that the lawsuit filed by Cassie was made public 12 days after that message. Okay. And then 4 minutes ago, CNN.com. Again, Mia says she doesn't remember when she told prosecutors about the SA allegations. But she did testify that she did not initially tell them. She did not initially tell prosecutors and federal investigators about the assault allegations against her by Diddy. She testified she definitely did not tell them before she had a lawyer. So she had gotten the lawyer and then told them. But Brian Steele suggested Mia did not tell prosecutors until June last year, so a year ago. She said, again, I don't remember the dates, but I do remember having that horrible conversation with the prosecutors and telling them about it at some point eventually, but it was after I had a lawyer. Mia went to mediation and her lawyer asked for $10 million. After she was fired, Mia said she went to mediation and originally asked for $10 million. Steele, the defense lawyer, asked Mia if she had demanded that 8-digit sum from a lawsuit. She said, no, it was mediation. You should know the difference. And that's where the $10 million emerged as an opening position. Eventually they settled for $400,000 with her lawyers getting about half of that money. Okay. Okay. They are back from the sidebar, and now they're going to talk about that infamous party at Prince's house. I had forgotten that Mia was at this party. She testified she was. Combs, Attorney Steele for Diddy says, let's talk about Prince's party. Now, remember, Cassie said, or somebody said that Diddy chased Cassie out of this party, and then Prince's security actually broke up the fight, broke up the physical altercation between Cassie and Diddy. And it's a very strange question here. Look, let's talk about Prince's party. You said you had no permission to go there, but you knew many people who knew Mr. Combs was going to be there. The judge's like, that's kind of confusing. What? Can you ask the question again? Okay. Did you wear a disguise to Prince's party? Mia said, no. Any photos of this alleged so-called chase between Diddy and Cassie? She's like, no. You think I took my camera out and took a picture of Diddy chasing Cassie? No. And you say you and Cassie got on a paddleboard and paddleboarded into a storm? Yep. But you don't have any recordings of that either, do you? She's like, from the paddleboard? No. Any note or text messages that prove it happened? Mia's like, I don't think so. We were on a paddleboard, Brian. Did you make that story up? No. Brian is stalling, they're saying. Okay, let's see. Now, you said you had no time with family. Did you ever go to any events with your family and friends? Mia said, yes, sporadically over the course of 8 years, but it was very few and far between. What about weddings? Yeah, I think I did go to my sister's wedding and maybe my best friend's wedding, I believe. What about Halloweens? You didn't go to any Halloween parties? She's like, maybe. I don't remember the specifics about a Halloween party. But yeah, I mean, I went to a couple weddings. And you had times with others, right? She said, yeah. But I had to be in communication with Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs 24/7. There was never a moment I was outside of his grip. Okay, but outside of the work environment, this is Steele, Brian Steele, why couldn't you explain about the abuse you were saying, that you say that you were experiencing? She said, it's more complicated than that, Brian. It's not just why couldn't you? I mean, I've already tried my very best to explain this to you. If you don't get it, you don't get it. I don't know how else to say it to you. And this is where I think the judge should jump in and just say, you've already asked this so many times. 1 minute ago, Mia says reasons she kept quiet about sexual assault allegations are privileged. This is NBCnews.com. Adam Rice, Ying Feng, and Doha Madani. Diddy's defense pushed Mia about why she waited to tell the government her allegations of SA against Diddy, saying it took about 7 or 8 months talking to the prosecutors before she finally revealed that information to them. She told the court she doesn't remember the exact conversations, but she did not tell the government until she had retained legal representation. The reasons why she didn't tell them are privileged, she said. Attorney-client privilege protects the confidentiality of communications between a lawyer and their client. We got a new update from Washington Post. Okay. Wesley Parnell, 10 minutes ago, Washington Post. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia why she didn't accuse Diddy of SA during the mediation after she was fired from Combs' media empire. And Mia said she did originally ask for $10 million. She settled for $400,000. She split that with her attorneys in 2017. And at the time of her dismissal, Mia said she wasn't aware that assault could be used in a settlement negotiation. She's like, I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh, let me leverage the SA and get more money. She didn't even know that could happen. And she previously testified that she felt guilty for even doing the mediation at all, like she was betraying Diddy. The Me Too movement was launched in late 2017 and gained widespread public attention in 2018 when Harvey Weinstein was arrested. New update a minute ago. Anne Brannigan, Washington Post, after Cassie filed an ST lawsuit against Diddy November 16, 2023, Mia said she still didn't tell her friend about her own experiences with Diddy. Like, she still didn't tell Cassie about it. She spoke with Cassie shortly after Cassie filed her complaint, but she kept quiet about her own allegations. Just because you find something out doesn't mean you immediately snap out of it, she said, adding that she was still deeply ashamed about the alleged assault. I wanted to disalive with this information, she testified. Isn't it true, Brian Steele asked, that other than the few times Diddy was violent with Cassie, which is never okay, you were comfortable with Diddy? The judge says, you got to rephrase this question. Okay, so you never advised Cassie to leave Diddy? No, I never advised her to leave Diddy. So until 2024, Brian Steele asks, you never told anyone you were abused? She said, unless it was to my therapist, which is privileged. Yes, that is true. Could you waive that privilege, your therapist? Objection, Your Honor. What? Can she waive her therapist notes privilege? Here's Brian Steele like, well, you don't get it unless you ask for it, and the judge is like, are you out of your damn mind? Move on. Brian needs to sit down. Look at this question. So you joined the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs, didn't you? Girl, shut up, Brian. I don't know if I even like this man anymore. He's kind of like going to hell, in my opinion. You joined the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs. That has to be objected. Because this is like prejudicial to the other victims and the victims, like saying like it's a money grab. What else can you get? That's the thing. What else can you get from somebody? It's not like he's going to say sorry. So what can you get? I mean, I do get it. I understand that like money can never make you whole after something like that. But what else is there? What else is there? You knew Cassie received money from her lawsuit, didn't you? Yeah, Brian, it was public information. But you speak with Cassie. Mia said never about anything I discussed with the government. Brian Steele says, yeah, but how would we know that? How would we know that? You could be lying to our face. It is kind of like getting really argumentative. I think the judge needs to just say, you're done, Brian. Ask your last questions, and after lunch, it's redirect. How would we know that? That's not her job. That's the job of the prosecution to present evidence of how you would know that. I think they beat this poor girl up the most of anybody so far. And it's like, why? 1 minute ago, Washington Post, Wesley Parnell has a new update. Mia did not make her allegations of SA known to prosecutors until June last year. That is 7 months after Cassie's lawsuit, quote, went viral, said Brian Steele during his cross-examination of the former Diddy employee who is testifying as Mia. Why did it take 7 or 8 months for you to tell the U.S. Attorney's Office that Diddy supposedly SA'd you? Mia has said that she had not received she has said before that she did not receive sufficient guidance from her legal team. Which is the first I'm seeing of that. Didn't receive sufficient guidance. 3 minutes ago, the Independent.com defense asks Mia when she told prosecutors about the SA claims. She said she doesn't remember, but she didn't tell them until she got a lawyer. And she said the reason that she waited is privileged. Steele suggested that it took Mia 7 or 8 months to tell prosecutors about her claims because she's a bold-faced liar. That's what he tried to say. joining the Me Too money grab against Mr. Combs. I was never outside of his grip, former assistant says. Okay, CNN.com, less than a minute ago, Mia confirmed that she was able to spend some time with friends and family while she was working for Diddy, but she said those times were few and far between. Defense attorney Brian Steele suggested that she did have time where she was outside of Diddy's grip. So Brian Steele is like, that's not true. You lying. You did have time. She said, no, I was never outside of his grip. Adding that even when she was away from her job, she still was expected to be in constant communication 24/7 with Diddy. When Brian Steele asked why she didn't tell any of her loved ones about her allegations when she saw them, she said, it's way more complex than that, Brian. And I wasn't going to tell anybody about this ever. I didn't want to, and I wasn't going to. More sidebar, more sidebar, more sidebar, more sidebar, sidebar over here. You get a sidebar, you get a sidebar. Okay, so the last question here is, the last two questions. But you speak with Cassie. Mia said, yeah, not about stuff that I discussed with the government. Brian Steele's like, oh yeah, but how would we know that? The prosecutor's like, objection, Your Honor, please. What do you mean, how would you know that? That is not her job. We have the evidence, okay? We can do the presentation of the evidence. What do you mean, how would we know that? Brian Steele said, let me show you some documents. Read them to yourself. And, Your Honor, can we please have a sidebar? So, of course, Brian Steele wants to go to the sidebar yet again. The judge goes to the side. They all go to the sidebar. And look at this picture. It's like the face is covered, and then with all the love in the world, heart. I got Diddy right there. Got two new updates here. I was never outside of his grip. It's way more complex than that. Okay, they just let him go for lunch. The jury got let go for lunch, but I bet you they still going to be arguing. So let's see what's going on. Because whenever the judge dismisses the jury for lunch, then the sidebar ends and then they start putting it on the record. So then we can hear it. Or read it. Read the tweets, not hear it, obviously. Objection. Sidebar. Yeah, this is good. Diddy docket. So I can show y'all what's going on. Let's go to the end of the list. 3 minutes ago, FoxNews.com, Diddy forced ex-assistant to cover for him with Cassie. Brian Steele asked why Mia would stick up for Diddy when she had knowledge he was jerky, meaning like a jerk, I guess. Mia claimed she was required to be put in the middle and cover up for Diddy to Cassie, which he forced her to do constantly, according to her testimony. Brian Steele then asked if Mia told Cassie that she needed to stay with Diddy. According to Mia, she doesn't remember using those words, but she said she does remember covering for the disgraced music mogul when he forced her to, and if she didn't, he would have Cassie taken away from her as a friend. Okay, Kyle Schnitzer from New York Post 3 minutes ago, Diddy's ex-assistant pressed about why she didn't bring up assault claims during settlement talks in 2017. Mia confirmed she originally did ask for $10 million, but she settled for $400,000, which was split with her attorneys. $200,000 went to her. She said she wasn't aware. She wasn't aware that the assault could be used in settlement negotiations. She testified that the first time she brought it up was sometime last year, but she doesn't remember the exact timing. Now, the judge has shortened the lunch break again. It was that he was letting these lunch breaks go from 12:15 to 1:15, but since they want to drag out witnesses, he's shortened them yet again. So it looks like it's back down to about a 40. We're looking at a 35, 40-minute lunch break. But they're still sidebarring. Hold on. Okay. Jurors, you can leave. Judge to Mia, when we come back, you're going to be shown some documents. Have a good break. Mia leaves. We'll talk to the government over the break about the witness's lawyer. The judge said, okay, because there's something going on with like privilege and lawyer talks and things like that. I don't know who the lawyer is, but they're going to talk about it over the break. Agnifilo and the feds. So then the judge lets them go on to their break. Thank you to Selma for the 25. I don't forget what this money is. Knock. Prosecution better pay for me as therapy. Thank you to She's So Jazzy for the 999 super chat. Remember when Diddy thanked Cassie for holding him down during the darkest time? Yeah, I sure do. I remember hearing somewhere in all this mess, that was going to be the title of her tell-all book, The Dark Times. Ooh, that'd be a good title. Thank you for the 999 super chat. Thank you, JC, for the 199 super chat. The BF informs me 6s and 7s is demons and angels. Oh, well, I could see that. Thanks so much for the super chat. Thank you, Easying Off, for the $10 super chat. Shout out to Taylor Swift for getting her master's back. She told everybody what they try to do to her, then systematically triumph. Louder for the TriStar Ops in the back. Well, there you go. Shout out. Thank you for that $10 super chat. Thank you, Selma, for the 25. Not Brian. Ever thought about it this way? Brian might be on them tapes. I mean, I have no reason to believe that he is, but can you even imagine the conflicts? Thanks so much for the super chat. Selma said it's given personal. Thank you, Melanie Logsden, for the $4.99 super chat. Diddy told his team she was weak and they could rattle her. That's possible. And I mean, is she rattled? I don't know. It seems like she is standing up for herself, but she is like kind of timid. I can understand her being afraid. I think it's $4.99 super chat. All right, y'all, I'm going to go take my little breaky break. And I'll be back right around 12:50 whenever court's coming back in session. That's all I really have for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. Neither is reading public stuff. I don't know. I wasn't in there. Thanks so much, Nikki, for the £5. This is disgrace to all victims, and this is why I don't come forward. It is why I don't come forward. I didn't want everyone knowing about mine. I hear you. I mean, now that I'm seeing how it happens, I mean, I already knew, but like, seeing it, being reminded. See y'all after the break. See y'all in about 30 minutes. I'll be back in 30 minutes. That's all we had for right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither is opinions. Neither is reading this stuff. I don't know. I wasn't there. Love you, Mina K. Bye.